Blackpool. You know what time it is. 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 Hey guys, and welcome to Men's Unfiltered Thoughts, episode 1. Yes, I have gathered the men, okay, to come and have a very earnest, open, candid conversation. If you are easily offended, you're about to be offended. So because we're going to keep it real. I wanted to create a space where both men and women can come and have conversation, but today we're focusing solely on the men and getting their perspective. And today's kind of conversation we're talking about, I want to narrow it down, is can men safely talk about their preference? Can men safely talk about their preference without being labeled as the next Kevin Samuels? Can we honestly say that men have a space where they can say that without being labeled red pill, men go their own way, being labeled some type of misogynist or whatever, or Kevin Samuels? Can we be able to voice our preference without having that label put on us? So I wanted to ask that question to you guys first and foremost. Let me get Sean in to jump in there. Sean, what's your thoughts to that question?
So the answer is no.
Why'd you say that?
Well, listen, we've seen it, Coach, and whether it's we've been on different panels talking about the variety of shows from Married at First Sight to Ready to Love to Put a Ring on It. When we start doing breakdowns of the characters, or we start talking about the people, and we'll share our perspective immediately. That's what comes in the comment section. Oh, Kelsey, we were called Kelsey Samuels a couple of days back, right? And all we were doing is talking about, hey, listen, a particular guy on one of the shows just didn't happen to be attracted to one of the women that he was paired up with. Right now, they were matched unseen, so sight unseen, and he just happened to not be attracted to her. Trying to navigate his way to have that conversation, but here we go. Ladies are telling him, well, you're not this, you don't look like that. How does he get to choose her, not choose her? She's beautiful, blah, 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 blah. And there you have it. And you and I are trying to talk and say, hey, listen, some people may be attracted to her, some people may not. As a man, this is how we feel. There's certain things that catch our eye, and attraction is a very difficult thing, for us to just manufacture. It either is or it isn't. And the ladies were not having it. They were upset, called us toxic, said we were mansplaining, all of that. So this is the regular on a day-to-day basis. It's very difficult, for women to hear us. Not all, but a good population of the women. It's difficult for them to hear us when we say exactly how we feel.
Totally hear that. Anu, I want to get your perspective. The question we're asking, I guess, can men safely talk about their preference without being labeled as Kevin Samuels? Can they do that?
I think they can, but it's like a thin line between being sexist and being overt than just saying what you have to say. I think what most women want to hear what we have to say, but it might not listen to our thought process. And I guess we're seeing a lot now. We're being able to express our opinions, but no one's actually diving exactly why we're saying certain things. You have in the manosphere right now, you have people like Kevin Samuels that are able to explain that thought, and now you're seeing women going after attacking that a lot of famously because again they don't want to believe that that's how the majority of men think, but there's a good section of men who think that way, and it's kind of like we had like an episode last year on bro code. It's like certain things we know exactly what the rules are. It's been taught to us in our DNA since like grade school. We kind of accept that moving forward. We don't have to relive that. I can meet a new guy here tomorrow, and again, there's basis the way how we're going to treat each other. But women say that they have those type of codes, but sometimes those friendships gets fractured. Typically, you can say it's locker room talk. You can say if you want to call it that, but we know the way we think is probably ingrained to us. It's just like, how toxic is it, or how amiable is it to the other species, to the other sex?
I hear that. Solid points. Appreciate it, Oni. Corey Black, what's your thoughts on the question we're asking? Can men, be able to voice how they feel about their preferences without being called the old Kevin Samuels?
I feel that for us, we can voice our preferences. I don't think it gets judged as much as long as the preferences are that woman, the woman in question. When no one wants to go to the club and be that woman that's holding the bags and holding the jackets and no one approaches. So when you go out somewhere, even if your thought is just to go out and have a girls' night, when you have that girls' night, you still want somebody to approach you, right? So to me, I think that it's okay for you to have preferences, but let it be found out that that woman that you're having that conversation with, that she's not your preference. Then it becomes a topic of discussion. Now we got problems. So yeah, I think it's okay, because we're a little bit, we have a broader preference to go off of. We don't not so tight with our preferences. No, some of us will date someone that's full figured. We'll date someone who is short or versus tall or whatever. We're more open to that than some women aren't. So to me, I think that because of that, the preferences are so much larger. So it's larger preference, and you're not it. It's like, wow, I don't even fit in when it's even larger than women. So I think it'd be a concern when that comes up.
Good points there as well. You're right. If you're not the preference, sometimes it be like it be like that. It can be painful. So I hear that. Okay, cool. Let me because you guys were all on a panel. I think you said the other day, right? And you gave some really great I guess feedback in terms of what made it such a great panel for you as men. So I guess I wanted to get a little bit of that perspective, so that if there are women listening to this particular conversation we're having, I want to kind of give them a little bit of a preview, or at least something to work with in a working model as to why men felt comfortable at that point. I think it was Crystal's live that you guys were on. You were saying, right, what was happening on that live that made it comfortable for you to be able to express fully your particular thoughts as a man. So I'll let Sean go first again.
Sure. So definitely, I think the thing is that Crystal allowed us to speak and say our opinion, right? So she presented us with a question, and then she got an answer from us, and we were able to fully flesh it out and explain exactly what we were thinking and our thought process. And what happens in other spaces is you may be speaking or trying to give your perspective, but one word will set off a chain reaction, right? And now the women are potentially triggered at something that you've said, and now your thought process is cut off, and now you're going back to try to explain what has caused a little bit of controversy. So I think that was the difference, is she asked questions, allowed us to answer, and then, like, if there was any follow-up that was needed, once we finished talking, she would come back to it and say, well, can you explain to me what that means, right? No assumptions, no blaming, no judgment, just tell me what that means. Or if we're talking about being a provider, tell me what that looks like to you, right? If we're talking about submission, what does submission look like to you? What do you think it is? Versus jumping all over us and telling us we're something or assigning a label to us. So I think that just made, her panel, just a wonderful discussion that we were able to have.
I'm hearing that. Okay, so you're saying that she created a space where she was trying to understand where you were coming from. Okay, I'm hearing that. Only for you were on that panel as well. What made it a comfortable space? If it was a comfortable space, because I'm assuming it was, because I know Corey and Sean already said, but what was that like for you on that panel then?
I mean, to echo what Sean had to say, she actually listened to us, but at the same time, she didn't put other people's words into your mouth. So the key thing we're saying is like Kelsey Samuels, like if we say something that kind of resembles what Kevin Samuels has to say, we're pretty much put in that camp, and now we have to defend that position. Whereas with Crystal, she kind of actually had words for us to define what that meant to us, and then used those to get a better understanding. And I think what was happening now is like there's there's maybe one or only several ways of thought, and it's like you're trying to classify somebody into that particular thought, then versus just listening to what that person has to say, and then using that words to get a better understanding. So the talk space, like it was a comfortable talk space where we're able to actually explain what we're thinking, what we're going through, and then actually see how the other sex or how other people who may not have an opinion respond to that, versus just using what somebody had to say 3-4 months ago, 1 year ago, and try to peg every single guy into that thought process. Because to me, that's an immature way of having these type of conversations and thought.
I love that. I love that. So, she created that space of understanding for you guys. Like you said, she wasn't presumptuous. She was hearing you, listening to you, getting you guys to explain in full thought what you guys were thinking. Okay, I'm hearing this. I'm liking where this is going. This is good. Corey, you were also on that particular live. Let us know your thoughts as well.
Yeah, just to echo the same thing what Sean was saying, Onu was saying, to add something to it is the dynamic to see a group of men that are like-minded, but at the same time, they have their own separate ways of getting to that end destination. I think I like the fact that everyone had something to say, and it gave women a viewpoint of different perspectives. Everyone wasn't necessarily agreeing 100%. There were some small little changes here and there, but they were healthy changes. They were healthy directions, different directions that a woman can take with a man and so to me, I think that part of it is something I would add along with what Sean and what Onu was saying.
That last part just cut out. Say it again. That last part. Sorry.
I was saying that was what I would add to what Sean and Onu were saying, as far as being able to how we respond to different things, and what we like, what we dislike. Some similarities there, but there's also some differences, and those differences were able to be explained in a way that make it easier for women to understand our perspective.
Okay, I'm hearing you loud and clear. It's good to get your perspective on that, because actually, like I said, I think you've fleshed out quite a good foundation of things in terms of what makes a space comfortable for men to be able to speak their mind. And you guys obviously are very articulate in the ways that you express yourself. You're of sound mind, you know what I mean? And I find you to be, you keep it sane, you know what I mean? Like you're not extreme on the scales, you know what I'm saying? So is there potentially an understanding from us as males as to maybe why women potentially do feel like when we express ourselves that we sound like potentially Kevin Samuels? Can we understand that, or is that something a bit alien to us, or do we need to try and have more conversation to understand where it comes from, or do we already understand or do we really think we know where those comparisons are coming from? Who wants to go first on that one? Go on then, Onu. You're looking in the sky, mate. Go on.
I don't know how to answer that question. I'm not.
Okay, first of all, do you understand? First of all, do you understand where women are coming from when they label some of us, even us who are trying to be, explain it a better way? Do you understand where it's coming from? Maybe.
I'm trying to understand where it's coming from. I think right now, the key thing now post COVID is trying to understand why men think the way they do. I'm seeing all these YouTube shows and seeing articles and exactly men explaining how men actually have to think. I think what's shocking is women understanding how I won't say juvenile, but archaic men think at times, or just how simplistic it can be, even if it comes out looking like a jerk. They're expecting these thought off, articulate responses, but for the most part, men are kind of simple to a degree, and it's typically you can answer the question within like 5 or 10 words. It doesn't need this elaborate thought. And when you go in these talk spaces, you're hearing people spend 30 minutes, spending an hour, 2 hours trying to explain explain the way guys think, but you can sum it down to, let's say, 15, 20 words. That's pretty much equivalent to the majority of men that you see. There are exceptions to the rules, but at the same time, men aren't as complicated as women think to be.
Love that point. Love that point. Corey, what's your thoughts on this particular question? Can we understand maybe where the women are coming from in terms of them kind of comparing us to Kevin Samuels in the thought process and stuff like that when we talk about our preferences and stuff like that?
I think one of the bigger things that came out when Kiss came to Tube and everywhere else is the fact that he's very outspoken and direct. And now more men are starting to find that voice within themselves to be a little bit more outspoken and direct. But it's really leveling the playing ground, because women have always been direct as far as how they feel, as far as what they want in a man. Now men are starting to do that as well. We see that as now, okay, someone has set it up for it to be safer for men to be a little bit more outspoken when it comes to their desires, needs of the heart. So for me, I think that's something that some women have a problem with, because being direct can be hurtful sometimes, but they have to understand as well that their version of direct can also be hurtful. Approaching a woman, that's a big deal. It's hard for me to do. So when a guy approaches you, don't look at him and say, why are you even talking to me? That's mean. That's disrespectful. You can think it, but to say that to someone, it can be a little bit rude. So for those women who do that, it's a right way and a wrong way to do things. I can be there towards someone and get my point across without being rude towards them. So I think that women should have a better understanding of what it means to be direct versus what it means to be rude. So me being direct is not always equal rude. But yeah, some women do have problems with it.
Totally hear that. Good points, bro. I'm hearing you on that. Sean, what's your thoughts in regards to this particular question? Corey and both Corey and Oni have explained it quite well, but what's your perspective on this? Can you understand where women are coming from when sometimes they compare us to Kevin Samuels?
I can understand it. I just don't necessarily agree with it. I think that what Kevin Samuels has done, it's not like he's created this narrative and he's making up a whole set of things. And I think that's what makes him so popular to his subscribers, which are primarily men, is that he's saying what many of us have thought in some terms, right? And again, not all of us, but for certain aspects, he's speaking for us. So it's like we have a person who's almost like the spokesperson for the way that men feel. Now, the other aspect of it is his approach, the women that get on, the way that he talks to them. That stuff is, what many of us disagree with that approach, right? And that's what a lot of the ladies may gravitate towards as being toxic or offensive. So if we happen to say something that is similar to his talking points, or now we are associated with him. But it's, my problem is, it's like, I don't necessarily have to be a fan of Kevin Samuels to say some things that he said, because he is a man and speaks and thinks in ways that many of us think. And Onu said it, right? Our thought process is not so nuanced and similarly nuanced like a woman. Woman's may or is, right? For us, it's kind of cut and dry. If we're attracted to you, we're attracted to you. If a woman is our type, she's our type, right? And it's not going to be a whole bunch of qualifiers that follow up behind that. It's pretty much cut and dry. Now, different men have different types, but I would say that it's pretty much it. And it's not something that changes, where women are very fluid and likely to change their mind, change their opinion, more open to certain things, whereas men, for the most part, our minds just don't operate that way. So that's the other end of it.
I love that. So, I mean, since we're talking about, obviously, we're already on the subject of, Kevin Samuels, maybe, I guess, red pill community, etc., why are so many men drawn to the red pill? Like, why are so many men drawn to this? Because there is a lot of men that are on that side of YouTube. I guess obviously, just to be fair as well, there's a lot of women on the pink pill side of YouTube too. But for us as men, if we're speaking on, I guess, on behalf of men, again, we can't speak for every single billion of men, but we can talk from the generalization. Why do we think men are drawn to a space like red pill, or men go their own way, or Kevin Samuel's area space as well, which is part of red pill community? Why are so many men drawn to that space? What is it that is attracting men to that space? Corey, you want to go for it? Go for it, bro.
Yeah, sure. I think a lot of men are attracted to that because they found a voice they didn't have. Quite honestly, I think there are a lot of men who look at Kevin Samuels and says, to themselves, this is a man who's able to say things that I don't feel like I can say. He's able to do things I don't feel I can do. He's very direct. He's very, he doesn't really care what anyone says. And that's a persona that a lot of men would like to carry, a lot of men would like to have, but they just don't know how to do it. They don't, and it's not within them to do so. So they'll look at, but they live in, vicariously through him, because he's able to do those things. So I think that's why a lot of men are drawn to him, because of that, and also because of the drama it causes as well. His actions are being done for a reason. It's the way he talks to women, it gets a reaction from people. So any reaction, whether it's positive or negative, is going to help you grow. And that's how he looks at it. So what he's doing, he's very smart in knowing what he's doing. And the fact of it is just a lot of men see that. They want the drama. They want to see a man tell a woman off, and there's nothing they can do about it. There's nothing they can say to him that's going to throw him off his game. So to them, like I said, it's just and be like, wow, this is me for the day. He's saying exactly what I want to say. That's how I feel.
I hear that. So people are saying that men are living almost vicariously through him, and he's almost performing things that they wish they could perform, and so they live through Kevin Samuel's actions. Okay, I hear
Absolutely.
that.
Like there's some men who can go up to a woman and say a sentence to a woman, and another man will come up to that same woman and say the exact same sentence, but it has a different effect. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just something about his persona. It resonates with his base.
I'm hearing you on that. Onu, what's your thoughts? Why are so many men drawn to red pill space? What is it about the red pill space that men are drawn to, man?
It just gives them, it's almost like idols. There's someone they can like idolize, like, maybe I might not be able to say exactly what I mean, but at least there's somebody out there with a fleshed out point and objective that I can attach to. And most people are now taking that and running with that full force. If you go back, let's say maybe like 8-9 years, when Steve Harvey brought out the Think Like a Man books, and like everyone was like looking at those books, okay, this is like a first thought process, exactly how men had to feel. It was presented in a way where women could actually digest it and understand it, but it was almost friendly. It wasn't as harsh, it wasn't as definitive to them. Now that you're moving into like present day times, you're seeing a more direct or harsher way, or more criticism into that approach. And most women, or you can say some women, are getting caught off guard with that, because if you compare to how the red pill or this movement was presented in the past, it was sometimes easily digest, to the point that they couldn't learn how to avoid or not deal with those type of men. Now that this red pill space is here, and you have a good percentage of men objecting to that, it's a hard position to defend when you're aligning with those set of principles. And if these are things that you kind of are going to gravitate to, you're now in a harsher light in order to defend those opinions. And there's not going to be easy way to overcome them. For the most part, when Steve Harvey was going through things about sports fishes, 9-day rules, it's kind of easier to kind of formulate how to direct and how to deal with those type of positions. Now that you have people coming in, like, okay, if a woman is masculine, if a woman is not doing certain things, a woman is not bringing 50%, a woman is not giving me the authority to do this as a man, these are kind of hard subjects to readdress and come around. And you're seeing there's right now it's a frictional space on how to objectively come through to a common ground on these arguments. When you look at the opposite, you talk about the pink pill, opposite of it, there's really no direct way to answer those concerns right now today.
I hear that expulsion. Doctor, as always, surgical. We love it. Okay, Oni, I hear you. Sean, what's your thoughts, man? Why are a lot of men drawn to the red pill space, man? What is drawing them to that space?
So I think there's a couple of things at play. In addition to what Corey and Onu shared, I think that the red pill space has put language to what a lot of men couldn't really articulate, because they have
Hold on.
Sure.
Say that again. And the reason why we say that again, because that's so important, that part. Because what only when Corey explained, you've just added the cherry on top. So I want you just to explain it so that women can get it. Absolutely beautiful.
Sure.
Go for it.
So they have put, the red pill community has put language to what many men that are audience, that are watching it, couldn't articulate, right? Experiences. And, the thing about YouTube, and especially how it's blown up over the last 1 to 2 years, is because of the pandemic and so many people being at home. So now you have access to these creators who are talking very specifically to men, about men, and we are able to relate with those experiences, right? And maybe we had one or another, but there was something that there was a connecting point that we were like, oh, I can understand that part, right? Or maybe I had an experience with a woman and I just couldn't understand how it went the way that it went, but they were able to put language to it. And we're like, oh, so it like clicked off like a light bulb, like, oh, this totally makes sense. And now I want to have those same options, and then going down that same path of Corey and Onu, where I want to live vicariously through this person, because they seem to have succeeded at the game of dating. They have succeeded at mastering how to work well with women and get the best outcomes. Or they have succeeded in doing whatever they wanted to do and level up, and not allowing themselves to be caught up in the web of what some feel is a mystery of how to navigate women, right? So I think that's what pushed or propelled a lot of people to get so interested and so drawn to those red pill content creators.
Love that, man. Love that. I love the fact that you three have fleshed out as well such an important point, because I sometimes what can happen is people can miss the reason why red pill exists. I don't agree with everything that they do, but I understand the purpose of why it's there, and I can understand why that space is needed, right? So this is why we're having this conversation, because there is a space for men that is needed to voice their opinion. But what Onu and Corey, what you guys did, you did a great base, and then what you did there, Sean, was just add that extra layer on top so that it finishes it complete, which is that in anything in life, if you lack the ability to articulate what you're feeling, you tend to act out. And this is art, and we're gonna discuss this as well, which is so important, because what you guys said in the very beginning was, when you were on Crystal's live, you had the opportunity to do what? Articulate your points, which is what allowed you to feel like you were being heard and understood. Whenever we are in spaces where, and we're talking from a male perspective today, when we're able to talk, but we're not being able to be heard or understood because we're not being allowed to articulate, or we're being assumed or presumed that this is my point, then we start to feel like we're being attacked, and it's no longer a safe space for men then to voice their opinion. So I'm going to ask you a question actually real quick. Why are you, I don't know, why are you not a part, or if you are, why are you a part of the red pill? If I don't know if you are or you're not. So let me ask that question. Are you a part of the red pill? And if you are or not, why are you yes or no to red pill? Let me ask that question for your reasons. Sean, I'll let you go first this time. We'll go
sure. So I'll dispel the myth. I'm not part of the red pill community. I
was waiting for that.
Yeah. Do some of the things that are said make sense to me? 100%. But if anybody who knows me and not just has listened to me on some panels and heard my opinions, but if you know me, you know I'm not a man of extremes. And for the most part, the red pill community is very on the extreme end of things. So for that, I cannot prescribe to it. There are also some ideals which some may deem misogynistic. I don't consider myself to be that. I would not want to be looked at somebody that hates women. I love women. So for that very reason, I couldn't say that I am a red pill subscriber.
Love that. Thank you very much, Sean. Onu, are you a part of the red pill community?
Onu is not a part of the red pill community.
Why not? Why are you not a part of that? Mm-hmm.
I think, do I understand the message of the community? I'm getting a better understanding of it. I think it's too toxic for me. And again, like, I'm not sure I have enough time to explain this. I believe in equality. I believe both people can have opposite views and still achieve the same goal. And when you look at the red pill community, it's pretty much trying to divide men versus women. And honestly, unless for someone to for a woman thought process to be able to survive that red pill, to survive or submit to that line of thinking, that's not someone that's going to be able to make their own decisions. It's not someone that's going to have a really fleshed out arguments. Pretty much, I appreciate what this guy brings. I'm gonna follow him until wherever we go to, and I think that's a huge problem that you're seeing, especially when you just lay out just relationships in general. Most women understand guys are like that, but will they want to follow that person for 10, 20, 30 years? You're seeing that not be the case. And again, there's reasons why you have to submit. You have to give away your train of thought. You have to just agree to that this guy knows what's best for you, and that you have to follow him in order to get to a destination. To me, that's not how relationships work. That's not the type of relationship I want to be in. So again, like, I don't put those practices into my lifestyle. However, I do understand the most parts of the message. I'm trying to understand it, and again, I'm trying to deviate exactly what I want from the world versus what their mission in the world is.
Solid points. I'm hearing you, bro. Hearing you loud and clear. Yep.
And Onu does not subscribe to the red pill community. Full stop. Just want to make this out there. I need that in the transcript.
I hear you, bro. I hear you. All right, Corey Black, what's your thoughts? Are you a part of the red pill community? And if you are or aren't, why not? Or why?
All right, so honestly, I have to say a little bit of both, to be honest with you. I think there is a time and place for both. That's the harsh reality that we have to live in. Being a Sigma male, I adapt to what goes on, what happens around me. You know, you have some women who will accept that red pill response, and you have someone who accept that blue pill. It's really, you have to be able to adapt, because she'll accept the blue pill today but want the red pill in 2 weeks. And that's just how it is in relationships. And that's just how it is with women. They change their mind and change what they want frequently. So you have to you should be providing both, in my opinion. You should be able to be direct. You should be able to be someone who is forceful in certain ways about certain things and adamant about it. And then there's some things that you may want to have a little finesse, because, there's a place for both of them, but it's that knowing that time and that place is very important.
Just to clarify as well, because you said red and blue pill. Some people are red, some people are blue. What does that mean? Because someone might be watching this thinking, what the heck is that?
Well, to me, I mean, and you got, we all, a red is more of that aggressive, that assertive, that more dominant feature, and the blue is, like I said, more of a finesse, more of a thinker. You think things through. So I think it's a role for both of those when it comes to relationship. Red.
Okay, so you're saying there's space for both of them.
Absolutely.
Okay, time and seasons. What you're saying.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Just so we can clarify that up. Okay, cool. No, I'm hearing that. I'm also not part of the red pill community, guys. But I'll tell you this now: there's a lot of stuff that they say. it's hella true. And
That's what I'm saying,
so I can see why a lot of men are drawn to them. I can, like I said, I can see a lot of their points, and I see why. I see a lot of truth in some of their points. You know what I mean? I think we've discussed before. Sometimes it's tone, sometimes delivery that I'm not agreeing with, rather than the actual point. I think I've done a video that said the same thing, which is that a lot of the points that Kevin Samuels makes, I actually agree with. I just don't like his delivery. You know what I mean? Like, I think his delivery is rude and it's crude. And it's like, if you're trying to get a message across somebody, the delivery is important. So that's I hear that. So yeah, I mean that's a good little spell of talking about that. I want to get back to the question though. So the question we're asking today, guys, the question we asked is, we're talking about having that safe space, right? Or can we safely talk about our preferences? So I want to ask that first question, I guess, again, which is, what do we mean by preference? Just so that if someone's listening, like, what's your definition? I'm not asking for a dictionary one if you don't want to give a dictionary, but what's your definition of preference, so we can get an understanding from your perspective? Sean, go for it.
Sure. So I would say, in layman's terms, what floats my boat. Right. So, or if it's what's my type, so what kind of women do I like? What am I looking for? A particular type of woman? Am I attracted to Black women? Am I looking for other? Is there a particular body type that I'm interested in? I think all of those things flow underneath the preference category.
Appreciate it. Yep, I hear that. Onu, what's your thoughts on preference?
I think preferences is, again, what is someone attracted to and what they want to be around and what we're looking for. So again, yes, you can sum it down to, you like to be, are you into Black women? Are you not into Black women? Into ambiguous women or not? Or are you into women that can be able to provide a family, or does that matter? How much way someone presents themselves. So not just how much someone weighs, but how does that person look? Is that something that catches your eye? Are you attracted to that person, or is there some type of, if there's any sex, do you have sexual chemistry, sexual attraction to someone or not? Like, how much does that matters? I think for the most part, guys kind of know exactly how much or how little they need in those particular aspects in order for them to be pursued. Like, I hate going back to basketball, but everyone's probably played like Madden or NBA Live. You build a character, and you have different attributes to put to your dream character. It's the same way with dating. Like, do you want, how much from part A do you need, part B, part C, or to build your dream person or the person you want to be with? Maybe that person might not have all those characteristics that, as like a 99, but you know what? They're going to have majority of these attributes for you to be attractive, or you won't have them on your team.
Love that. Okay, appreciate it, Oni. Corey, what's your definition of preference?
I would say inspiration. I won't say 100%, but I would say someone who can aid in the inspiration. So it's not always just about looks. It's about who they are as a person as well. What makes me want to go hard for them, for myself? What makes me want to become a better man for them? I need someone that's going to be in my life that's going to be able to inspire me in that realm. I think it's important for men, for us to understand how important it is for us to have a woman that's capable of doing that, because there'll be times when the chips are low. It's really tough out here for us as Black men, to be honest. And we need a woman who's going to inspire us to, we can lift our head or we can still stand up, and she does that in her own special way, or in a way that we've become familiar with. Inspiration.
So you're saying, so we're in need of inspiration. Oh, all right.
Yeah. So what I'm saying, like, for her to just inspire, when I say inspire, I don't mean it's solely her responsibility, because as a man, I have to do what I do. For her to know what to do, to know what to say, to know how to calm me when I need to be calm, just someone who can be that better half that I will need, as a partner. That's what's important to me. That's a preference that I will have.
Okay, cool. So you actually went into your actual preference. I appreciate it. Okay, cool. All right, cool. So as the question says, can men safely talk about preference? I would ask this question: why why has this question come up? Has there been times where you maybe have witnessed, or you have yourself been in a space where you've expressed your preference and it's not been safe? Let me ask that question, to get your kind of thoughts. I mean, is there been a time when you've witnessed it, or where you have expressed your thoughts on a preference and it's not been safe? I want to kind of get your feelings and thoughts in that moment. What were you going through that point in time when you felt like it wasn't safe in that particular regard? Sean, go for us again, bro.
Sure. So I can definitely say that's the case. And I think, it comes down to the instances when I've talked about a particular type of woman that I prefer to be with. I've expressed in the past that at this stage in my life, I prefer to date women that don't have kids. So that becomes a thing. And women can get offended about that. When that conversation happens, whether they have kids or whether they, are just upset about a preference that I have because they feel like it marginalized them, or puts them, rules them out, or potential friends or that they may have. It becomes something we talk about, right? Or I get pushback on. Another thing is if I say, listen, I prefer a woman to be a particular size, right? And I'm not saying like, oh, it has to be a size 2 or 4, but I'll say there's a woman that I may see, and someone will, a woman has asked like, oh, what do you think about her? And I'm like, no, that's not really my type. I don't like a woman that size, and then you kind of get a lot of questions. Well, why not? Well, the average woman is XYZ size, and and it's like, listen, I no disrespect to anybody else, but that's just particularly how I feel. I'm not, well, you're shallow, and what about you? And you have all these questions that get fired back at you. And it's kind of like, look, I just was telling you my type. If you want me to lie, I can lie. That way we don't have to have this conversation. But I'm just telling you what my preference is. So those are the times I've definitely felt unsafe sharing my thoughts about what I prefer, because you get a lot of backlash.
What was going through your mind when you were getting that backlash?
Probably wishing I didn't even mention it, wishing I could have just avoided the whole conversation and not even mentioned what my type is.
Appreciate you for sharing that. Anu, what was your thoughts to this question? When in terms of, have you ever experienced where you've, shared a preference, or seen someone else share a preference and it's backfired on them?
Oh, yes. Yes, I guess yes and no. So, like, when I was in medical school, when we used to have parties, certain like that, I would have like female classmates, whatever, try to set me up with other women they think that I might be attracted to, even if I tell them, you know what, hey, I'm looking for a black girl between 5'2" and 5'6" and 5'9". They'll set me up. But I have my friend who's 5'3". I think you should let me out, even though if what I'm looking for isn't there, or what I'm looking for isn't there, to try to find a substitute in order to see if that can just appease, because they're just trying to see me with someone else. I kind of feel like most people you think people might have their good intentions, but sometimes it's like they're just gonna figure out what's there and try to push it on you, and then it's up to you to either deny or accept what their request is. It's kind of hard when that situation's like presented to you in your face. You have to deal with it, because again, I was trying to be nice and not trying to turn somebody down that I'm not attracted to. I think Sean was saying earlier, it's like you can't force attraction if you're not attracted to someone there or not. That's kind of instantaneous, or within the first 10 to 15 seconds. Most people, I mean, at least I know for me back earlier, let's say in my 20s, again, like if I wasn't attracted to somebody, like I'm not going to try to bring that relationship out of anywhere to mean something. Again, I'm just move on to someone else, or someone I find more attractive to that person. I might not have the vocabulary or exactly how to present my train of thought back then, and instead of putting that person down, I might entertain them for longer than I should have. Looking at it now, I kind of feel like there's when you're not attracted to somebody, there's a way that you can say it with tact without hurting their person's feelings. And I think it's one of the things you have to learn to grow. It's like, learn as you grow how to just tell people no, or tell people, okay, this is not what you're interested in, and not try to force something out of nothing. But those situations, I've went through those countless times. To now, I'm just like, okay, if I'm not attracted to somebody, I mean, that's fine. I'll move on to who I'm attracted to. I'm not going to look at friends, look at other people to hook me up with people that I would deem attractive, or I have a preference. When we say preferences, if there's strictly the type of person I'm looking for, I'm not going to settle, or not going to take something that doesn't fit those requirements if that's what I'm looking for.
Oh, solid. I hear you, bro. The setups are wild. I hear you, bro. I hear you. Well, I didn't get to ask you. I mean, how did it feel then when you felt like you're being dismissed for your preferences, or not being heard?
I think it's like you might not understand. It's like understanding, like, what's the purpose of why are you trying to put me in a situation I feel uncomfortable with? Again, I wasn't as self-confident then as I am now. So if you're being put in those situations on the spot, having to deal with them, and you don't have the proper tools in order to navigate those spaces, it becomes very, very, very tough. Like now, I'm like, I can bat an eye. I'm like, okay, like I'm not going to go through something I don't want to put myself in. I'm being presented that situation, and you see that person right up in your face. And again, you can't. I'm not looking to demean somebody based on who they are. Everyone's pretty to somebody else, but again, you can't force the world's interpretation of beauty onto me.
Love that. Thank you for sharing that, bro. Corey, what's your thoughts, man? I mean, have you experienced blowback from, expressing your opinions and your thoughts on preferences?
I mean, I think all men have gotten some blowback when it comes to that. And like I mentioned earlier, that it really comes into play when the person who's asking is in that category. So if it is a friend, like Onu was saying, if it's a friend that wants to hook you up with another friend and brown skin as well, you say, no, I prefer darker women, or I prefer lighter women. By mentioning that, now you've offended her. So just by saying your preference and knowing that person who's asking you is not in that category, now they become offended. So you have to be smart about these things. I've learned a lot of things along the years. If I notice someone's asking my preference and I know that person is on that spectrum, like it's something that's physical, I can see, then I try to avoid that particular part of it. I just say, okay, sense of humor, intelligence, pretty smile. That's kind of how I put it out there. So it's not something that's going to offend anyone, but deeper down, I know what it is that I want, and I'll find those things out along the way. But I keep it at that. But I think the thing that triggers them, or that gets to, I won't say triggers them, but something that gets to me, that is that they make it more about them than about me. Okay, these are my preferences. This is what I want. Is a reasonable. I had her ask me, okay, why do you choose that? Why do you choose to go that route instead of just coming to me and saying, you're wrong for choosing what you choose? So to me, I just think that's something that a lot of women should pay attention to. That's all.
Definitely hear you on that. Definitely hear. And do you know what? Just to add to what you guys. Oh, so I get to ask you, what was your feelings in that moment when you got the blowbacks?
Yeah, the feeling is just that, I feel like it's not even really about me. Like, you didn't ask me for understanding, you asked me to judge. So to me, I think that's something that, people shouldn't do. Ask a question to understand a person's perspective. If it's different than yours, it's okay. But don't judge them just because you're not what that person's preference is, or because you don't understand what the person.
Hey, love that. And I think myself, Sean, obviously been on panels before when we've got the blowback for stating certain things. I think Honor, you was on the panel as well when we did some of the Ready to Love stuff and stating preferences. I think this, what we're trying to really explain, I guess, to any female viewers as well, is that you may be projecting just a tad. You know, when you're hearing us state our preferences, you just may be projecting a little bit when you get a bit frustrated with our opinion about our preferences. I do also take into account that there are some men, when they state their preferences, it's done at the expense of you, right? And there are some men that will do that, right? But I guess I want to say the majority. I like to say that most men, you know, are trying to state their preference just to say, hey, this is what I like. You know, I can't change that. This is what I do like. Because what I think sometimes happens in conversation, maybe you guys can chime in, is I feel like when we do state our preference, the question is, so it's not necessarily the wrong question, it's the tone of the question. So why'd you like that? Why'd you like that? Oh, you just, you know what I mean? And then there's a judgment that comes from the question, which is what you were kind of saying as well, Corey, which is that there's a judgment rather than actually being about, oh, okay, that's just your preference. Okay, cool. Right. You know, I think I did a video the other day where I said I was watching the Roommates, and the girls are saying they wanted men that are 6'4". I said, listen, I don't care. It's up to you if you want the men that are 6'4", darling. Listen, go for them, because there are always going to be plenty of women out there that don't need to have a 6'4" man. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna be pressed because, you know, you want a 6'4" man. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not my ethos. You want a man that's bulky and in the NFL, darling, that's you. Again, if you want that, you can go for it. We can always have a real conversation about, in terms of options, in terms of how plausible is it to always get that option that you want. But I'm not about to start killing you for your preference again. You know what I mean? But again, I'm always conscious and aware that there are some men that will try to do exactly that. But we're talking about the men's point of view today. So we won't address that issue today, will we? So furthermore, you know, pushed on the conversation a little bit more. I had another question here for you guys. Is there a double standard when it comes to men expressing their preference? As in, when men express their preference, some women, let me put it so correctly, some women will put a judgment on it. But when the women are expressing their preference, it's normal. For instance, we spoke a little bit earlier on saying about how, and again, this is not for your children, so please, if you're listening to this with your child, close his ears. If a woman says, listen, he's got a small penis, and we just got to deal with it, brother. If you got a small penis, you got a small penis. What we gonna do about it? Like, that's your. If you don't want that as a preference, what am I to say? You want a man that's 6 foot? What am I to say? You know what I mean? You want a man out here who's a millionaire? What am I to say? You know, that's your preference. You go ahead and do what you do. But then why is it? It seems like when us men are expressing our preference, there tends to be some pushback that is double standard. So I want to ask the question, is there a double standard, or am I kind of maybe reading too much into isolated incidents that may have occurred in one's life? Let me ask that question. Who wants to take on? Corey, go for it, man. Talk for us, Captain.
Yeah, there's definitely a double standard. Man and a woman can have a conversation together about their preferences. A woman who is full figure will say that she wants a guy who's over 6 feet, and that it wants a man who's muscular and, you know, bald head, beard, very specific of what she wants, these physical characteristics. And then a woman that's fit, you know, she's educated, fit. Why she have to be fit? Are you kidding me? Are you serious? Because she's not fit. So now it looks like I'm the bad guy, because now I said something that's pretty similar to what, because now you're mad at me. You're upset at me about it. So to me, I think it is definitely a double standard when it comes to preferences between men and women. I think we have to be more careful how we say it. Everything that we say towards a woman, it seems like it has to be with sensitivity in mind. We have to be very careful in how we say it and how we do things when it comes to women. And it should not be that way. No one should want to be around someone they have to walk on eggshells with. You're supposed to be 100% authentic yourself, and that person is going to accept you for who you are. But to me, I do think that there's definitely standard.
Love that point, man. You're absolutely right. A lot of sensitivity going on. Guess, Anu, what's your thoughts, man? You know, is there a double standards about stating preferences?
I think there is a double standard. I think the issue when it comes to the double standards. It's like how, I guess, picking back what I had to say, how realistic those things are. So like he was talking about, sometimes full fake women want some guy 6'4" muscular, but why? Like if a 6'4" muscular guy is going to be in the gym 5, 6, 7 days a week, working out probably an hour, 2 hours per day, are you doing those things in order to get that type of guy? Most women don't want to put in the work to get type of the type of men they're looking for, and they kind of feel flustered when the things don't go their way. So I know we're saying it's okay to have purposes. It's okay to dream, build a bear, build a guy, build a girl. But exactly what is that person actually doing to meet those goals? What is the person actually meet those goals, and are you doing the same things as well? Most women are like, I want a God-fearing guy, someone who goes to church, whatever. But the last time they've been to churches was 3-5 years ago for Easter Sunday. So it's like, if you're someone that's in the church, wanting someone in church, I get that. But at the same time, it's like, it's what you're actually saying, actually matching up your actions. And for the most part, you have a lot. Dreamers or people just saying things but not backing it up with what they have to say. So to me, that's a foolish way of thinking and a foolish way of processing. If you're going to put in the work to get the results, I have no problem you saying what that is. But at the same time, it's like, if you're just having a wish list, I had a wish list, like what I wanted, and when I was 18, 19, 20, newsflash, didn't work out. What is it going to take for you to get to your destination? And you realize most of these attributes, you don't really need. You need them when it comes to relationships, over sex relationships. For some, like, men kind of realize that, I have a better understanding with that. But some women, especially now, it's like, unless that person meets all those criteria, they're not going to want to deal with them. And even if they find a guy that meets those criteria, they might treat them like trash, or treat them with disrespect. I've yet to see when 6'4" equated good man. He's going to treat me well. But in women's, I'm sorry.
I didn't know when to interrupt. That's mostly about attraction, right? That is mostly about, they want other women to be attracted to their man. That's what it really boils down to. I want a man that looks good. He's muscular. I want a woman to look at him and be like, oh my goodness, I wish I could be with him. That's what it's about. Go ahead, Odu, my bad.
I can't knock what you have to say, but at the same time, it's like, now it's devil's foot. So now you want other women to lust over the men that you're with. You're setting yourself up. You're opening Pandora's box. You're setting yourself up for failure in that perspective. I'm like, okay, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But honestly, I mean, when you kind of boil things down, like what it takes to have a successful relationship, half the things we're talking about really doesn't matter. Like, I've come to realize that now. I'm like, you know what? Half the things, or majority of things I'm looking for, really doesn't matter. What you're worried about is respect. What you're worrying about is someone to help you be a better person. Like I say, it doesn't matter how tall someone is. It doesn't matter how much they weigh. Now, things like fitness, again, I think that matters. I think working out does matter. Do you have to work on every single day? No. But the same part, I think someone who does work out is going to have less cardiovascular, less problems with their health than someone who does. So if you're not putting in the effort or work to do the bare minimum little things, why do you have a grandiose way of looking at the world?
Hey, you, Captain Onu, I'm hearing you. Yeah, appreciate you, Doctor. Sean.
I definitely think there are. And Corey and Ono really touched on some great points about what drives that preference. And I think our language has changed so much within the last 10 to 20 years, and some of it rightfully so, right? To allow us to be more sensitive, to allow us to make sure that we are not being disrespectful to women. Right. And as our society has evolved, there's aspects of our language, especially to women, that is weaponized in terms of making us, putting us on notice of what we can't say. Right. So there's certain words, like if we talk about a particular preference for a body shape of a woman, right, we could be accused of body shaming. right? And that is something that's typically referred to as, to women, when a man is saying that her body looks XYZ type, or when anybody is criticizing a woman for being whatever size she may be, right? So we don't necessarily use that when it comes to men, but that's the double standard, right? Because a woman can say she does not want a short man. That same woman can be 5'2", but say she wants a man 5'10" or 5'11", right? But that man is significantly taller than you if at 5'7" or 5'8", which is somewhere about the average size of the man in the world, right? But women want more than that, and that's their right. But that's not called body shaming if they're saying that they don't want a man that's shorter, right? That's not called body shaming if women say that they only want a man that's trim or slim or has a six-pack. That's not called body shaming when women say they don't want a dude that isn't a certain amount of inches downstairs, right? We don't call that body shaming. We just call it is what it is. So that is the double standard. But I think as men, we're more open to accepting those. We get the harsh cruelties and realities of the world, and we manage to the situation to the best we can. Women, definitely, we are always on notice for watching our words, our language. We have to be careful because, especially in this climate, you say the wrong thing and all hell breaks loose. So we definitely have to be aware, but it's just a funny double standard when it flips to the other side about what women want, because they don't see it that way. And not all of them, but there are many women that don't see it that way. And even the fact that we have to be so clear about not all, right? We have to be so clear about who we're talking about and very specific. You notice when women speak about men, they speak freely. They don't have said constraints and firewalls that they need to manage to, but we have to do that because we know what the risk is, right? We know what's at jeopardy. We don't want to risk our access to women. We don't want to risk being called out a name by a woman. We don't want to be put in that camp, right? So we are very careful, most of us. Some of us throw caution to the wind and they say what they want, but for the most part, men, we're going to fall in line because we don't want to upset the apple cart, right? So I think that is definitely something that's real and true.
Yeah, definitely true on that, man. I think you guys have all eloquently summed it up quite correctly. I mean, I think in the conversations, yeah, you're right. I mean, we've had it several times on the panel, right? We've had to say some women, not say, we can't say women, but when the roles are reversed, we are not even I'm not even checking to see if you say some men, because to be honest, fam, I know that you're not mentioning all men. You are talking about some men, and I guess sometimes I'll be honest with you, I have seen, and it's probably more on Twitter than it's on YouTube, I think, because of the 140 characters, that there are some men that will get vexed about women saying men. Like, for instance, they say men are trash. Some men will be on Twitter quickly with their fingers itching to say it's not all men, and it's like, yeah, she don't mean all men, bro. Although she's saying all men, she's not saying all men because she's got her boyfriend there, bro. So don't think she's talking about all men. She's talking about a consensus of men that she's talking about. So I have seen that, but you're absolutely right. I have seen it also that when we've been on live as well, we're talking as a consensus of people, of a group, and it quickly goes into, you can't say that, you have to say some women, and it's like, yeah. So now you see me always saying that. I keep saying it even on this live. I'm like, oh yeah, guys, some women, because I don't want anyone to be in the comment section like, you said all women. I'm like, no, I don't mean that though. You know what I mean? So you're actually right. That does happen as well. I guess my final question. You want a side note? Go for it, Corey. You want a side note?
Yeah, just a side note. I think that the problem is that we have women that prefer the same type of man, which leaves a large amount of men that are unrecognized. That then these same women have the nerve to say that they're no good men. But what they're really saying is that not enough men to meet my preferences. And I think that's damaging. That's toxic to yourself, to your self-worth and what you want in a relationship. To say that because a man isn't physically what you want him to be, that you can just throw away the whole man. And I think that's what the problem is. But people can see what some women, again, I don't have to say some, what some women consider a man to be good for, it's really based on looks. It can't be based on looks.
Okay, I'm hearing that. You know, I can't wait for episode 2 when we do it. The question that we got for episode 2 is, are men only good for money? Is that all they're ever good for? You know what I mean? I want to ask that question. You know what I mean? Because it just seems like the conversation, if it wasn't about preference, you know, that is where, you know, we consistently hear women's preference juxtaposed to when we start mentioning that, okay, we like a beautiful woman. And it's like quickly they throw into there, well, yeah, fine. We like men who earn this amount of money. And it's like, okay, cool. So I want to ask that question. We'll do it in episode 2 and delve deeper into that, you know, the value of a man and what we're perceived as being valuable, what makes us valuable. My final question, I guess, for this section, to bring this kind of conversation to a close, brilliant question. I wonder if I should throw it in there and just create a bit of chaos.
Go for it.
Hey, we here to change lives. Let's go.
Okay, so since we are talking about preference, are there certain types, because we're talking from a male perspective today, not the woman, so we're talking from a male perspective, I'm not talking generally. So anybody's listening to this, you might be offended. In fact, you probably are going to be offended. We're talking from a male perspective right now. Is there types of women that have less options? It's a bit slight from the question, but is there... Because we were talking about this earlier on, right? We were talking about preferences on who's already touching his forehead. Because we had this discussion in Ready to Love some seasons back. So I want to ask this question, right? Because I had some women challenge me about this, saying, you know, men are too shallow and this and that and this and all nonsense. But I want to ask this question: does appearance make a difference to the options that someone's accessible to in terms of the opposite sex? Corey's looking at me like Corey looking at me.
Absolutely.
Why?
Absolutely. Listen, this is the world we live in. I've seen it so many. Oh my God, I'm so happy you brought this question up, man. I've heard so many women say they want this type of man, that type of man. I'm like, have you seen yourself? You know, and I mean that I can be respectful when I say this, but to me, it seems you're disrespectful for thinking you can accomplish such a high goal. Like, you want a man with all this money. You want a man who was going to pamper you and take you on trips and do all this wine and dine you. Ma'am, if you're walking around, you can't say you want a VP of a corporation when you walk around with your hair undone and flip-flops on, with your toes not done, just looking unkept. So you have to be able to present something that says, okay, this is something I can take home as is. Like, you don't want to get something. You want to grab something and say, okay, I got to fix this thing up from the bottom up. I got to create this up, because if I don't, you know, you ain't gonna go ahead and embarrass me. What you're not gonna do is embarrass me. So I feel that, yes, you should stay in your lane. There is a lane for everyone. Me, hey, can I get Halle Berry in my dreams? Of course I can. You know, I'm that guy. I can do that. But in reality, it may not happen. You know what I mean? But confidence is one thing. There's nothing wrong with having confidence. But at the same time, to shoot so high, it's you have to, you know yourself. You know what you're capable. I have a Facebook friend that comes to mind every time this situation comes up. She tells me the exact type man that she wants to be in a relationship with. And in my head, I'm praying for her, because I see a man being that type of guy for her. And again, it's not to be mean. It's not to be, you know, I'm slightly joking a little bit here, but honestly, it does boil down to attraction levels, you know. And if you don't have a certain attraction level, then there are other things you have to have going for you very well. So if you're not as attractive, maybe you have a great personality. Your personality supersedes your attractiveness. If those are situations where they can help you. So to me, I think that it's possible.
Hey, Corey wants to let this thing be cancelled so quickly. This brother went in. Okay. I'm hearing you. It's the untold truth. And this is why it's an unfiltered conversation. So I'm hearing you. Only I'm gonna ask the same question. Okay. For us as men, okay, does the appearance matter? And does appearance affect the amount of options that you have in the opposite sex?
For answer your first question, yes, I think appearances matter.
Mm-hmm.
When your second question, are you saying for the way that woman looks, does that equate to more options? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Does it affect the options? So if the way you look,
Yes.
So us as men, does that affect?
The answer is yes and yes.
Why?
The answer to both questions. I'm sorry.
Why?
What?
The ladies are gonna want to know why. So because that's what they always be asking. And why? So I'm asking you why. Why is it? Why is it
I think attraction matters, and the key thing is like I know for me is I can't be around you 24/7, but it's the image or like how do you look when I'm not around, or how's that going to be perceived? Like I know I don't want to be with someone someone sloppy or someone who's disheveled or someone don't look good. So if I know appearances matter or beauty matters, again, of course I'm gonna be attracted to someone that's been put together, someone's more well kept. I think most men do, and I guess where we're going to boil this. For example, we were talking about the Joel example from the previous season of Ready to Love. So there are two voluptuous women on the show. You had Tressa and Vernisha. Yes, they're both voluptuous. They're both full-figured women, but you see how Joel was attracted to one and not the other. And the case was, who was the more presentable woman on the show, or be the most present option in front of Joel? Joel went with that option. Maybe Tressa was a better person. Maybe she was intellectually more mature and actually probably could have provided him more of a satisfying relationship than Vernisha. But the guy was thinking with not the upstairs head, and he went with what looked good at that particular moment. And he kept that choice from the first time he saw. I think he talked to Tresha first before he talked to Vernisha. But as soon as he saw Vernisha, he was like head over heels, and that's the direction he went towards. It was at least the decision that he made for himself, or the show made for him. So I think that example plays a factor in the society that we live in. People who know how to present themselves are going to have more options than people who don't know how to do that, or until they figure out a way. You know what? How can I attract more suitors, or how can I make myself a better option? Until that answer gets solved, you're not going to increase the type of men that's going to find you attractive. Are you going to be able to find some? Yes, but the quantity is definitely not going to be there. At least we look at Tressa. Yes, there are guys out there, but the reasons why these guys were not checking her, they said straight up they weren't attracted to her, or they didn't find her appeasing. They said that in one of their closed sessions. Like I'm not sure what week it was, but it was like you couldn't force them not to say what they said the way they said it. I'm not sure if it wasn't received well, but it wasn't like they were lying to themselves.
I'm hearing you on it. I'm hearing you. Okay. Yep. Okay. Sean, as to this last question, does appearance affect your options? It's a bit of a bonus question. It's away from the actual main question we've done, but does appearance affect your options?
So look, Corey shook the table. So there's nothing that I can say that can. So I feel safe. I feel super safe with whatever I'm gonna say, right? And Owner was somewhere in the middle, right? So I feel like I'm safe to just say whatever I'm gonna say. So thank you, Corey. Oh, brother, I so appreciate you going first. Salute to you, absolutely. So for me, in addition to what the good brothers already shared, I feel like men we are visual creatures, right? We are very visual. I feel comfortable in that generality. We like what we like. Now, what floats our boat, what gets us going, what our preference is, can vary from man to man. But when we like it, we like it. When we see it, we know it. And um, the woman that, and there are certain women that can kind of fit into any way. So if a guy likes, thicker women, full figured women, if he saw a specific woman, and I'm not gonna name a woman, but if he saw that woman that wasn't necessarily full figure, but still, looked good, was appealing to the eye, he would be like, bam, I'll go for her. Right. So I think there's some women that are universally, we can name them and we think of them as beautiful. Right. And those women will have more of the options. The woman that is more appealing to the eye, that is packaged well in her presentation, is going to have the plethora of options. It just is what it is. When men see her, that's going to be the woman. When you're out and about, whether it's a restaurant, a club, at work, every man can think of that one woman that he's seen in one place at a time, and every guy is trying to get that particular woman, right? Or if there's a woman that looks similar to that, she has lots of options, right? So I think for certain, there's no doubt about it. Though your appearance, 100% makes a big difference, right? Now, again, I think what my preference is as a man may differ from amongst the four of us, but no matter what, when we see what we like, we know it, we feel it, and we are going to be interested in it. Are my thoughts.
Love that. So, ladies, I hope you have heard the conversation, because I think it was sensible conversation. I think we didn't even do any harsh stuff apart from the very end there where Corey destroyed it. But other than that, fam, we was really comfortable the whole entire conversation. I think they're not gonna have no problems with what we just spoke about today. I think they will love what we spoke about today. You know what I mean? But no, honestly, generally, it was a really good conversation because it got another perspective in terms of what's making us feel safe in terms of our spaces and having certain conversation, which is why we enlisted this particular podcast today as well. And so I appreciate you guys kind of sharing your thoughts on this particular conversation. And the question we were asking, if you missed it, guys, was, can men express their preferences, without being labeled Kelsey, Kelvin, Kevin, Colin, Samuels? Can they do that without being labeled one of those K's in there? And you guys have discussed this very, very well, and you discussed it politely, so I appreciate that as well. So, audience members, I want to let you guys know, like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate you. Stay locked and stay loaded, and watch out for episode 2, where we go into talking some more deep conversations that are unfiltered. We appreciate you guys. Stay locked and stay loaded. See ya. Jeez. Appreciate you. Wait, guys, we're not gonna go off yet, so we're still live, but it's because I want to keep it recording. If you guys got time, I'm gonna film a 15-minute segment, but this question I got for you guys is one question. If you got time, if you're around, if you haven't got time, it's calm. Okay. I understand if you've got things to do. So I got a question. I'm gonna bring individual on as well. Oh no, you're a doctor. If you gotta go, you gotta go. I understand. We can't hear you.
I have to check out. I didn't know how long it's going.
That's right, bro. That's right, bro. I understand, bro. Bro. We appreciate you for coming through, bro. Thank you on it. Next one, don't worry, I'll get you on episode 2.
Let's have fun.
I'm gonna get you on episode 2.
David, take my spot.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, Oni, man. Love for that, bro.
You know what's interesting, Coach, is that I think a good understanding of how women can understand a man's perspective. I mean, for instance, when it comes to this, is, and that's how I was going to touch that little point at the end, is to understand that our preferences are there for certain reasons. Like, I was going to give like my top 5 celebrity crushes, and they're all different. And I think they need to understand that there are certain things to look for in women that being one woman may have one of those characteristics, another may have 2 of them. Until we find someone who has everything we're looking for, then that's the goal. But yeah,
All right, give us your 5 then.
All right,
Give us your 5.
my 5 will just want to surprise you. 5 is Jill Scott.
Hey, okay. Jill Scott's
All right.
away.
'Cause
You know what? I'm not gonna say what she did.
Oh
but
yes,
anyway,
sir. That's not why, but it's sure added to make sure she stayed on that list. I tell you that much.
It's sauce.
More childhood. So Maya.
Wait, it was who?
Maya.
Maya. Oh, Maya. Yeah. Maya. Yeah.
So and then number 3 is Regina Hall.
Listen,
Man,
already know.
Regina Hall, bro. My number 2 is Angel.
Is it?
Angel Conwell.
Who's that?
Okay, a lot of people don't know her name, but
Google
she was on Baby Boy. She look her up, man. Angel Angell Conwell. But you see her, you recognize her.
Let me see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Angel Conwell.
Man, bro. And then my number 1 is Amara Van. And these are all for different reasons. Like for Jill Scott, it's her smile.
I hear that.
If for Maya, it's her ability to have that youthful look throughout all these years. You know, for me, that does something for me for a woman to stay youthful. Regina Hall is her sense of humor. I think she's dope. You know, Angel Conwell gives me that sex appeal. You know, and then for versatile, she plays so many different roles. She can play an old person, she can play a young person. She's just versatile in how she performs. So that's just those are differences in my preferences that I want. But if I can get all of that in one woman, then that's what's up. You know, so I think that's something women need to understand about how men are how we select who we say. Well, some of us, I can't speak for every man, but how we select who we like. So that's why we like this woman, that woman, that woman, and that woman, because they all have something that we do find attractive. That's it.
It's so real. I love that, man. I love that. Sean, do you have a top 5?
I don't know if I have a top 5. I got like 2 or 3 in there. So, Corey, you know, my Scorpio brother, we have way more in common than you know. So
Wow.
I typed in the private chat, no lie, Jill Scott was my hall pass. My ex-wife knew that. I'm like, if we don't take me to a concert and take me to see her backstage, because you will be left.
Go get the car.
You right now.
Go
I
get the car.
freaking love Jill Scott. And this was even before she did that performance with that mic.
Yeah.
The way she blessed that mic, bro.
Man.
I anything Jill Scott, I follow her podcast, music. You got it. Number 1 fan. I've seen her perform. Sexy. Regina Hall. And I'm not really one for following bad women on Instagram. It's not really my thing. I've been following her. She's funny and sexy.
Yes.
And then I love women that are beautiful, that are friends together. So she's friends with Gabrielle Union, Sanaa Lathan. I love it when confident, beautiful women can cluster together. So Sanaa's in there too, and Tika Sumpter. Tika Sumpter,
Jesus,
bro, and I'm from Queens in New York. Tika Sumpter is from Queens. I'm like, why did we not intersect ever in life? Like, man. I'm so upset.
Man,
Tika Sumpter, like, bro, I would give it all for her.
She is definitely.
I'll be blue pill. I'll be a simp, a beta. I'll do it all. Whatever. I'm so upset that she is now with the white dude from that show. I'm so angry. It just disturbs my soul.
Individual, what's your thoughts, man? Top 5. You got a top 5? Top 3? Top 5? Top 2?
Man, I got a top 13. So
Top 10.
Jeez.
Oh boy.
I got so many, dog. It's like, I will say, my top, like my number 1 right now is Chloe Bailey. My goodness,
bro.
I can't argue that.
I gotta move on. I gotta move on.
I gotta look that up. I don't know. I think I know who that is. Let me see.
Oh, you don't?
You don't know who that is?
I'm showing the age. Hold on, let me see.
No, bro.
Don't show your age when you find out her age. So Say, go on, Juju.
I got Denai Guerrero.
She's beautiful.
Yes, bro. Just beautiful. Tiana Paris. She's very slept on. I actually have always had an attraction to Regina King.
She's gorgeous too.
I don't know what it is. She just has everything. Like, it's just her essence to me.
Yeah.
That just kind of like speaks to me. I can't resist it. Let's see. You guys also named Gina Hall. She's fine. Jill Scott is fine. Dang. Who else? I'm trying to think. I'm gonna leave it at that for now. I think that qualifies as a top 5 for now.
Okay.
So many.
That Chloe Bailey.
Dangerous, bro.
Yeah.
Dangerous, bro.
Yeah, I see you guys talking about now. She's
But Corey Black just looked for she just did a redo of the
Just Mercy.
Just Mercy, but she did the Nina Simone song. She did it and did she did I don't know what show it was on. Feeling Good. She did a video. If you Google the video Feeling Good, that performance is next level.
Okay.
It's like pouring with your clothes on. That girl is ridiculous.
Okay, I see it. I'll check that out when we finish.
I'm with y'all.
Kojo, what you got, man? Top 5.
Listen, my top 1. Listen, Taraji P. Henson. I'm sorry, but Taraji
Yes.
P. Henson.
Okay.
For a long time.
Respect.
For a long time. Okay.
Respect.
Taraji P. Henson. Okay, I don't know what it is, but I just
we know what
like
it
that
is.
American spice. You like that
It speaks to
American
me.
Spice. That's what that
yeah,
is.
it speaks to me. I'm not gonna lie to you. It speaks to me. Tika Sumpter's also there. Listen, I don't know what it. Tika Sumpter is just exquisite. I love her poise and I love her elegance as well that she brings to the table. As well, I guess another person. In old schools, it's a shame she's married up now. I love Megan Good. I loved her innocence. It's like she always brought a little innocence to her role. Do you know what I mean? So I always loved that about Megan Good. I was loving Gabrielle Union, but of late, it's not like the attitude now with Dwayne Wade. She still looks good, but it's the attitude that my mind has been like,
yeah. It's a little masculine, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's
just
a little bit. It's not for me as such at the moment.
I just unfollowed her the other day. I'm like,
wait, why?
Because they're doing too much of this, trying to, he's wearing diamond chokers and doesn't look like a chick, and like, I'm like, all right, Gabrielle, like, I'm over it. Just do you, be you.
Yeah, and
I'm disengaging.
Coach, you make a good point, man. And by you saying that she's married, I try to keep my list of single people. Like, you can be in a relationship, but as long as you're not married, you can't be on my list if you're married, because my hope is gone at that point. You have a boyfriend, it's okay. He'll leave you. You can leave him. It's still a possibility. You know what I'm saying? I can probably still be there. Be there for you to catch you when you fall. Yeah, exactly. I'll be your support. Get you back to health.
We still can meet, and it could happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can make an impression.
Yeah, you got it.
The last person on the list is Yaya DaCosta. I don't know if you guys know our kind of people, bro.
Oh my goodness,
bro.
Listen, when I saw Our Kind of People, I forgot about her. But when I saw her again, I was like, "Where have you been, Yaya,
sis?"
And she, Corey, is recently divorced because like you, I had to go into the background. Like, I'm like, is she still married? I'm like,
I gotta make some changes. Gotta make some moves.
That's it. When me and Jay did the review for Our Kind of People, I shot my shot. I'm like, Yaya, if you out there, you watching this review, holler at your boy.
Man,
I'm here.
Y'all, goodness. I saw her. She had this. In Our Kind of People, she had this wraparound dress on,
yes,
with the bow, and everything was just there. My goodness,
she's a badass woman.
Poised, beautiful,
yes,
classy,
beautiful, natural hair, just flowing. It was just there. Yeah.
But
these are things that men get excited about. Ladies, these are the things that go side of
That's unfortunately the women can't see that because they would all be pissed.
Yeah, they're
Like,
not. Don't worry,
I
that's
don't
not
look
being
like
added.
this.
We don't need it. We don't need to be cancelled.
Exactly.
For real. Oh boy.
So let me ask a real question. So let me even introduce this. Right? So I got a question from Dr. Nundi. So she's on our lives and she asked a question. So I'm gonna ask you guys a question. So let me just do a quick intro. Hey guys, welcome to Little Black Book 91. This is a quick bonus video for you guys. We are talking, I guess, unfiltered thoughts, but we're discussing a question that was sent in by one of you guys when I asked for questions to ask the men. So I've got a question for you guys, and it says, do you think you have possibly met your spouse already, but for some reason you have not intentionally pursued her? Now, I want to change the question slightly. Do men put girls on retainer when they meet them if they feel they're not ready for them? Is that something that men do? Do men, like, if you know you're meeting this girl and you're like, do you know what? I can see it, but I'm not in that space right now. Do men put that girl on retainer? Or do they just continue to pursue and see what happens? David, you're rubbing your chin, so I'm gonna let you go first, bro.
Man, you know what it is, yeah. I think it depends on the man. I think it's two different types of men, right?
Okay.
I think it highly depends on whether or not the man thinks he's ready for something like that, right? Because you could have a man who sees potential in a woman, but he feels like, okay, I'm not where I want to be right now, which to me sounds like, okay, I'm still trying to mess around before I get to this beautiful woman right here, so then I'm gonna just put her on layaway. The issue with that is, to me, that shows that he's not really that much into her. Because if you have somebody that's in front of you and is everything that you could have possibly wanted, or has a very high potential of being your wife, of like everything you could have wanted, you're not going to want to necessarily miss out on that opportunity. To me, you're going to pursue her, and you're going to pursue her so that nobody else can have her, and you can just be with her. You're going to do whatever you have to do to make sure that it happens. To me, that's how it makes sense in my head. I'm not sure of how many men this actually like applies to, because there are a lot of guys who just want to be out here. But to me, if they were to find somebody who fit their fancy in every aspect, or at least almost every aspect, of course, there's always things we can work on and stuff like that. I'm not sure if he's going to miss. For me personally, I have already met the person that I want to marry. Thank God, because it's rough out here, right? But as soon as I met her, as soon as I realized, okay, there's some things we can work on, and I realized she met my criteria, I was like, okay, then I'm done. I'm out. The funny thing is, she actually gave me time to be like, okay, get it all out of your system. Whatever you had, all out there and stuff like that, whatever loose ends you need to tie up, I'm giving you 3 months to just get it out. I didn't want that 3 months, because I was like, I already got everything I wanted. I don't need to waste time with anybody else. What I have is right here, right? Like anything else would be a waste of time. Of course, I could have used that time, and it could have like allowed me to be like messing around and stuff like that, but it didn't feel right because I wanted only her. To then divide my attention felt like a waste of time. I like to be a busy man. I don't have time to be running around and doing all this other stuff. To me, if I know exactly who I want, why am I wasting time with somebody else that I know I don't want? You know what I mean? Unless they have something that they can give me. But like, if I have somebody who can give me all that and more, why would I want to waste time? You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's a boy that wants to play around and then do all those types of things when he sees that he could have somebody who's really great for him. But when you're a man, to me, when you're a man and you already know that you're on your business, you're on your purpose, you're not going to be wasting time. It's like, okay, boom, let's get it done. And that's about it.
Solid. I'm hearing that. Solid. Corey, same question to you, bro. Do men put women on a retainer if they're not ready for them? Or is that another thought process?
Yeah, I would say absolutely yes. It does have the plan though, because waiting for someone to base, I guess you want to say, to get ready for you, or you're not ready for them, and not seize that moment. You know, you can. This is the thing for me. I'm gonna believe that you with someone. You don't necessarily have to be away from someone to grow, because we're constantly growing. So for you to say, you know, I don't want to be with this person right now because I'm not where I need to be yet, or they're not where I need them to be yet. If you know that's the person, I say pursue it. You know, because like I said, we're always growing. So if you're married to someone, you're still supposed to be growing as an individual, as well as a husband, as well as a wife. So because of that, you have to find someone that you can grow with. So yeah, I may not be where I need to be right now. If she's the one who is, she's still gonna ride with me, you know, and vice versa. So that should be the mindset going into it. But to answer your question, absolutely, we do that. We do that. Slippery slope.
Sean, thank you for that, Corey. Sean, what's your thoughts? Do men put women on retainer if they're not ready for them?
I guess my thought more closely aligns with David, and I think that in our younger years, we may see a potential in a woman, like in our 20s, and if we're not ready to settle down at that point, we may just kind of leave her hanging around, right? But I do think there's still a population of men, again, because we like to secure our odds, we'll still be with that woman, but still kind of do our thing as well. So I think that does happen, where a woman might be right there at the surface, but not getting everything she wants from that man because he sees her as future potential for more, but knows he's not ready for all of it, but doesn't want to lose that option. Now if the woman is deliberate and saying no, she's not going to take the relationship to a place that man may want to go, then yeah, we might still orbit in her vicinity. But I think the odds of a man being highly attracted to a woman and knowing that attraction is reciprocated to some extent, and him not following through with that, does it happen? I'm sure it does, but I think the odds are smaller because I think most of us, we are going to go with the option that is a surer bet, right? So if we know this woman has everything that we need and want, and that there's some interest from her to us, we're not going to want to miss out on that. So I would say that, like, especially in your 30s and your 40s, if you're ready to settle down, the chances of you letting that woman just hang around for somebody else to snatch her up, is less likely. I definitely think it's less likely for that to be the case, in my opinion.
Cool. Love that. I mean, personally, I kind of agree with Sean, individual, and Corey, actually, because I ain't gonna lie to you, maybe it's me personally. I put some people on retainer. They're on retainer. They're on ice. And maybe because, like I said, which I think David and Sean have executed quite well, I'm not ready to settle down right now. So unless that thing is perfect, it has to be perfect. You know what I mean? Then I'm not settling down right now because I don't think it's the right time for me to do that. I've got some work to do. But if it was the most perfect girl, then yeah, you can see your brother. You know what? You're just gonna go for it. Do you know what I mean? So I think what you guys have said is correct, which is I think it's a time and season thing. Where are you in your season? If you're ready to settle down, and you're prepared to settle down, then more than likely you're not gonna put a girl on retainer. It's either yes or no. But if you're in that moving phase where you're not ready necessarily, you're almost in between. You're not necessarily saying no to settling down, but you're not saying I'm definitely settling down. Then you might be in that place where you are having people on retainer because you're not sure if that is the right person to fit you. What do you want to add, individual? Go for it.
I was just going to ask you, so then how much do you really like the women you've put on retainer? Because you just said that if the woman was perfect, even out of season, you would still pursue her.
Yeah.
If a woman is truly right for you, how much, are you willing to make things work, even though you're out of season, even though you feel like you're not ready yet? If you found somebody who you feel like is a good match for you, why not pursue them, even if you feel like things aren't perfect in your life right now?
I think, you know what it is? I've met a lot of women that I think are good for me, if I'm honest with you. I'm in a season where I've met a lot of women, and I think a lot of them are good for me. I think they've got great qualities. I think we could make it work, but I'm just not in that space right now. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. It has to be perfect. I mean, I have to meet that girl, and there's seemingly this. It's inconceivable that I'm going anywhere else. Do you know what I mean? Right now, it's not inconceivable. All right, and I'm focused on work, so it's like that person would have to hit me, bam, and it's like, oh my god, like Adam and Eve, just like bam. You know what I mean? Because other than that, it's not happening for me right now. Do you know what I mean? I'm not in that season. Do you know what I'm saying? But again, it can happen, ladies. It can happen if you're out there. Hey, yeah, the Costa, if you're out there, I'm ready.
But
Go for it.
So then, do you think that's a bit idealistic? Okay, it has to hit me. As opposed to being able to work things out with somebody who's actually a great catch. Because what it sounds like is like, okay, these ladies are great in their own right. Yeah. However, my standard is a bit higher than what they can currently offer. Then is it too idealistic to be like, okay, she has to be perfect? What exactly does that entail? Like, we could go a lot of different places with that. You know what I mean?
You don't want to know the truth because it's dark.
Nah, this is Unfiltered, isn't it?
This is, bro, a brother I hate trying to get. Here's the thing. Status as it changes pulling power.
True.
You understand? As my status is shifting, it's in a state of flux, right? The people that are coming are different, and it keeps changing. A brother doesn't want to cash out too early. You understand?
David, I want to thank you for pulling that out of this good brother. And this is why these are all very needed, because ladies, this is how men hold other men accountable, because Kojo tried to toe the line. And that's the truth.
That is the truth.
David.
That's the truth.
Corey, what are you saying?
Hey, I get it, though. I definitely get it.
Yeah.
I definitely get it. So,
ladies, don't cancel me. Listen, you never know. You could be the status I'm looking for. Please don't cancel yourselves.
At what point is it like enough? You know what I mean? Like, at what point is just because you could always play that game. There could always be another. J. Cole said it himself. There will always be somebody else. Like, you gotta love. You have to love whatever you have right now, because you can get somebody and think you really won the lottery, and then you're locked in for 2 years into a marriage. And then you find somebody else that's like, dang, what, she got that though. You know what I mean? So it's just like, at what point would you ever feel satisfied? Because
there's one more glow up.
That's insane.
There's one more last glow up, bro. I can feel it. I mean, that season I can feel it. There's one more last glow up, bro. There's one more last glow up.
I'm sure it's the last one.
It is the last one. Trust me. It's the last one. It's the last one. Because I look at, I'm a very pragmatic person. I look at different factors, right? You know what I'm saying? And I will keep it $100. So I'm gonna keep it $100 for you guys on here. So first of all, obviously, when you first were younger, I had a physique change. Yeah, that changed. My physical body changed, right? Now the money has changed, right? So the money has changed, right? But there's one more glow up where the money and the look change at the same time. For instance, my smile, it's not the gap. This thing here. Remember I was telling you about appearances? I keep it $100. The appearances affect your options. True. Listen, the girls that love me, they love me regardless of whatever. I appreciate that, yeah? But I'm shallow. I got a bit of shallowness in me, okay? I love the fact you love me regardless of whatever shape I'm in. But I need that's not me, okay? So I need a little bit more. Just a little bit more. And like I said, your appearance changes options, right? So as my appearance is changing, as I'm getting more finer, ladies and gentlemen, okay? As my money is increasing and getting longer, right? The options are changing. Now, there's that. That's what I'm saying. There's one last glow up. There's this one last. Those two are connecting. We're almost there. I can feel it. We're almost there. Once that hits, we're good. By 2022, probably 2023, guys, you'll see me in a white, and then you'll see me walking down the aisle. Because when I'm ready, it doesn't take me long. I'm in there and I'm ready to go. We're not doing protracted negotiations, but once we're in, we're in. Do you know what I'm saying? This is me being totally honest. about why I'm not in that space right now. There's one last glow up that needs to happen, that financially and that little thing, and it's about to hit, because all of that is about to come into culmination. Plus, I need to know that person who's going to want to be with me. If my status changes where I have to be in public eye, you can't have a partner that's not comfortable with that. That shift is crazy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So I may have a partner that will be cool with it now, because where I'm now, it's not crazy. But what happens when your thing shifts completely and it's completely different? I don't need a Steph Curry, Ayesha situation where you're questioning whether because you want attention. I don't need that from you. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so there's that last do. When it hits there, brother, I'm telling you now, your brother will be settled down, because you know what I'm saying? That's me being truthful now.
I got a question for you,
I
Coach.
hear
But
you.
what about LeBron
Sean.
James? What about LeBron? Look at LeBron and his wife.
LeBron's
right?
a special case.
But you see a lot of cases like that where those long, even Denzel and his wife, like you and Samuel Jackson, like these brothers, the long standing relationships are those that you knew me when I was getting it out of the mud before I glowed up.
True.
Because those women that kind of getting you either right on the cusp or once you've reached a certain pinnacle of success, they are not able to ride the wave with you. You know, you can also, have to doubt their authenticity. You got to question their authenticity. So you just might want to kind of look in that little small space of the women that you're seeing. And listen, if it's not there, if they don't 100% do it for you, I'm not pushing that. But if there's a woman or one or two that are like, yo, I could see her for life, don't rule her
I
out.
can't see them for life, though. There's so many of them, but I can't see them for life.
Then it's not about your glow up. It's about them not being exactly everything that you need them to be, to settle down.
That's exactly
Your
right.
glow up for you. Do it for you, but understand that those women have nothing to do with that, because if yeah, it's more for you and for what you need, which is awesome too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, just to tackle really quick, like most of what you were talking about, it was mostly surrounded upon like your satisfaction with yourself, like,
of course,
you being satisfied with where you're at in life, or like your transitions and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're basing whether or not somebody's a good match for you based on where you're at, then it sounds more like it's revolved around like, okay, I need to be in a good space for me so that I could have a good match, right? Like you're trying to go up for the sake of a companion, but it's still focused on you. Like if you're going to be in a glow up, I think you should just be like, okay, this is what I need to do, right? As opposed to being like, okay, before I can get this type of girl, I just need to do this extra thing. When I think you could just do that extra thing. It's not like you just want to do it for yourself. If you're going to do it for yourself, then like, let it be that. As opposed to being like, okay, I can't get this type of girl, or at least I'm not sure what other type of girl I can get unless I get to this next step. At least that's how I understood it.
No, that's a fair point. Go for it, Corey.
I definitely see your point, and I see what you're doing. Like you are simply increasing your options. That's what you're doing, and if that's cool with you, I don't necessarily see anything wrong with that, because we just had a conversation about women. And women, based on appearance or whatever, can they get the type of man that they want with these really high standards? Yeah, they may feel they can, but they also should know they need to have a little bit more to give in other areas. What you're doing, what it sounds like you're doing, is you're making sure that other areas that you're good at all of them. You got all of them taken care of. So no matter what, you still look like a pretty well put together package for whatever woman you decide to be with. Like it's gonna be hard for them to tell you no, because you're so well put together. And for that confidence comes with it. But when it comes to dating any kind of woman you want to be with, you can feel smooth, you can feel debonair, when it comes to that, because you're at a place where you feel comfortable. And like you said, I think David had asked the question as far as when's enough. When you actually made a good point by saying when you're ready, because a woman can be beautiful, can be everything you want directly in your face, directly in your line of sight. You're not going to choose her until you're ready, until you're in that mental space, until you have reached the where you want to be. or where you want to be at. So to me, I get where you're coming from, and you let me know if I'm wrong. You let me know if I'm listening to you and I'm hearing the incorrect thing.
Yeah.
But to me, it seems like you're just building your value, what you offer a potential mate. You know, the more you have to offer, the more you can be like, hey, well, you got to come with this. You know, I need for you to come with a little bit more because I'm giving you a lot. You know, so I get that. That's all I'm saying.
I get both points. So I actually agree with both sides. You know what I mean? So I think we can look at both sides. Definitely trying to increase options, but also as well, yeah, I see what David and Sean are getting at as well. You know what I mean? Me personally, I'm gonna be honest with you, yes, you're right. I want to make sure that I'm of a certain tier myself, because if I'm here talking to people about appearance matters, and then I am not living by that truth myself, I can't afford to do that. I live by the truths that I talk about. You know what I'm saying? So I want to make sure that I'm living by that particular principle, because and again, you're probably right as well. The right girl maybe hasn't come along as well. That could also be part of the equation as well. The right type of girl that I need hasn't come along as well at the same time. Listen, nobody's asking for an IG baddie. Nobody wants those type of girl. Okay, we don't want them type of girl there. No. It's not even about just her being a baddie or something like that. It's more of a case of I want to make sure I'm in tip top shape. Increase the options like you said as well, but I want to make sure I'm in tip top shape, so that I know that I've cashed out at the right time. When you're in tip top shape, I've cashed out at the right time, for me anyway, personally, because now I'm at my fullest capacity, and I've got none of that thought of maybe I should have waited because I'm not at my right time of life, or I chose a girl because I was at the bottom, but really now I've expanded. That girl no longer fits my particular thought process, because for instance, when I had my money glow up, my mind towards life changed completely. If I had the girlfriend that I had when I was there, I would kill this girl now. I'd kill her. Yeah, not physically, but like emotionally. I'm in a totally different ball space. So it's like, I realize that once you see life differently, your mindset, your thought process begin to shift and change. Can that person contain that? If I had dated that girl that I was thinking, I would have been finished. I would have finished her. She would have finished me, and we'd all be finished together. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but again, I'm also cautious. I'm listening to what you guys are saying as well. I'm cautious to that as well, guys. This is not an intervention. What about you guys? I mean, what about you guys?
Listen, you know my story. Listen, I saw her, I caught her, I married her, and now we are no longer. So when I see what I want, and again, of course, when I was in the space to ready to be married, I was more than confident to do so. I think now I'm in a little bit of a different season. So
okay.
Yeah, it would take the woman that has everything versus, I'm cautious about who I would date, because I don't want to give anybody the wrong impression, because yes, do I want to be married again? 100%. But I want to be cautious with who I date too, because I don't want to give her the wrong impression, because look, if it's not working for me, everybody knows me. I'm not going to continue. I don't waste anybody's time. I don't want to waste my time. And I would feel bad for hurting somebody's feelings. So I'm cautious even in dating, that if I don't see a potential with this particular woman, I might not even go down the path, because I know I don't see this going anywhere. So I definitely, I just kind of I gotta be cautious in my thought process.
Hey, get him, boys, get him.
Yeah, I think for me, it boils down to consistency. I need that in my life, to be honest with you. A lot of times, you get these representatives, and some of them can hold on for a little bit, some of them hold on for a long time. So you just have to make sure that you're getting what you want to buy, and not getting something different. So to what Sean was saying, that. To agree with what Sean is saying, I need that, and I also need that consistency, because I need to know what I'm getting for the rest of my life. Have you been consistently being supportive these past couple of years? Have you been consistently being by my side, loving me, caring for me? Have you been consistent with it? And the answer to that is yes, and it makes this decision a whole lot easier. But I can't go off of the here and there. Like, you're sweet today, mean tomorrow, Sweet the next day. Like I need some sort of consistency.
I love that. Okay. Hey, individual, get them, bro. Ask them the questions.
I
What do you say?
I mean,
That's an individual. So
solid, I'm not
ask
gonna
them
lie to you.
questions, man.
this
Don't
is
let them
pretty
get
solid.
scot free. Don't let them get scot free.
I don't see nothing right now, man. I don't know, it sounds pretty solid to me.
You know, see the oh frick, it was solid too. I had no questions, that's why it was solid, bro. I was like, oh frick, there ain't no questions I can ask these brothers. They're solid already, bro. You know what I mean? They're not on shaky ground. Okay. What was the actual original question though? It was do men put women on retainer? Okay. So Sean, you're saying obviously what? So you're saying that for you, if you don't see it going anywhere, you're not entertaining it at all. Is that what you're saying?
Not at this age and stage in my life. No, there's no retainer. Either I'm in or I'm out.
Okay. So right now, does that person have? Because you said there was quite a few things that lady needs to have. You didn't say specifically, but you kind of said that she needs to have a certain something for you. What was that certain something for you?
All right, so I would say, first of all, we talked about it in a little earlier. It's the physical, right? So if physically, there is an attraction there, and I mean, it's a range for me, but if there is that physical connection, then that's gonna start my thought process thinking. Next steps is what is her mindset like? Is she somebody that is marriage minded? Is she focused on building a family? Does she want to have kids? Does she have a relationship with God? All these things are the things now I'm ticking off in my head. Is she responsible? Can she take care of herself? Is she a positive person? Has she done work on herself in terms of being having a level of self-assessment, right? Being able to critique herself and saying, okay, these are things that I've worked on and improved on myself, and obviously these are things that I want because these are things that are important to me. So I want my partner, to have that same mindset because we can grow with that. So those are some of the core basics of things that are super important for me right off the bat.
Okay. So if that person came along now,
Mm-hmm.
you gonna leave the game?
I would start the process for sure. I would definitely not leave her orbiting. Not at all. We would be in close communication and figuring it out for sure.
That's
So
right.
I up on with a question, man. But I have a question, Sean. For this woman that you say looks a certain way, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to identify when it happens.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to say this, celebrity wise, what you know about a woman celebrity that you know about her characteristics, her who she is as a person, what you know. We're not saying if it's all the way 100% true or not, but what you know, how does that person look? What celebrity woman would you say would fit closely to what you want? That we can all relate to. That we can all relate to. Oh yeah. Let's get it. Let's go after it.
What a question.
Oh man, don't listen, ladies, don't pigeonhole me. This isn't set in stone per se. We're just going for what jumps out at me. Oh man, we just talked about her. Can I give you two, Corey? Just two. All right. So one is Yaya DaCosta.
Okay.
Yaya DaCosta, she does something for me. And the other is and again, this is just in terms of looks. Sanaa Lathan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. So out of the two of them, we got to break it down because so say for instance, if there's a woman that's listening and think that she has the characteristics of a Sanaa Lathan, or the characteristics of a Yaya,
Well,
I
not
think
necessarily. Not necessarily the characteristics, but the physical exterior matched with the characteristics that I listed earlier.
Okay. Got you. Okay.
Listen, if anybody out there looks like either one of those sisters, holla at your boy. You see my IG right there. Hit me up. Either one. I'm not picky. One or the other. You could be the cousin too. I'm not picky in that sense. If you're in that ballpark, now don't come to me looking like her fourth cousin, second removed. Don't come at me with that. But if you're looking like either one of those two ladies, I'm game.
I hear you. Okay, wait, individual, you're in a relationship. So what made you, because you said obviously that, she had the characteristics, the qualities, etc., etc., etc. But were you ready at that time to settle down? Like
Yes,
in that season, were you ready to settle down already, or did she, you know what I mean? Go for it.
It's crazy. I was on Hinge, a dating app, when I probably shouldn't have been on that dating app. I was like a few months out of my last relationship at the time. And I knew, I was like, I shouldn't be doing this. Because like during that time when I had first gotten out, I was wilding out. I was doing like 5 dates a week, bro. I was just like out here on the about. And then I got tired of it. And I was like, you know what? Let me just relax. I'll delete the app next week. Literally a couple days before I was about to get off the app, that's when she messaged me. And I was like, okay, sure, let's make it happen. She looks like one of the daughters from Black Lightning.
Which one?
Hold on,
the older one.
The oldest one.
Oh, whoa, no, Nessa?
What?
Nessa?
When I'll send y'all a pic. I promise you.
All respect to you, bro. Just saying, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm about to go in for a second.
She is gorgeous.
Bro, when I tell you, I thought it was a bot at first. I thought it was like one of those like program or whatever. I was just like, okay, this is not real. She started talking about the Holy Spirit, and she started, because I asked her what book she was reading, and the book was called The Holy Spirit. I was like, okay, hold on. What's going on? Things just started to really match up really quickly. We started really getting into like what we believed, our values, and basically it seemed to really match up, especially like with culture and stuff like that. Like she has a bunch of Nigerian friends, a bunch of like African friends and stuff like that. So then that was easier for me to be able to connect with her because my ex was also Haitian, but she's also Haitian. So I was like, okay, we can make this happen. You know what I mean? Like our interests weren't necessarily like all the way synced in, but the way that her mind works is that she'll be open to doing whatever it is, and then I'll also be able to reciprocate. So that's not even an issue there. So like on every level in terms of our values, our faith, our goals even are similar, being able to understand one another. It seemed like, okay, let's make it happen. I don't really have time to really waste here. Like, there's nothing else that I actually need, right? Like, of course, there's small things, but like in every area that could be worked on, I saw potential.
Amen.
And I saw like, okay, I'm not sure if this is going too fast, but I'm ready to lock it in. After a couple months, I was like, yeah, I'm done. Streets is not for me. But at the time, if you ask me, was I ready? I was not.
That's how it be, you know. That's how it be.
I'm just saying, man. Like, I shouldn't have been out there. I should not have been on that.
Well, how would you have met your love if you hadn't been on the map?
Exactly. Right? So then, like, I'm not sure what exactly the right answer is, but I think it's always best to at least be open to see what else is out there.
Oh, man, I just wanted to say, Nessa, if you're watching this, just by the chance that you are watching this, Nessa, you know what I mean? I know you're playing a character element, which is unfortunately, but you know what? I just want to admit that I am a big fan of yours. You know what I'm saying? A very big fan of yours. Yeah. Oh man, okay, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. You know, go for it, Corey. You got a question in it? Because I know you got a question.
No,
wait. Before you do, hold that question. Hold the question. Hold the question.
Gotcha.
There's one more question for individual, because one of the ladies asked this question. They asked, "Is it okay for ladies to make the first move?" Because you just told a story and she messaged you first.
So technically,
So was it a move or was it just a question? Was it a move?
Technically, you can on Hinge, you can like other people. She
Okay.
claims that like by doing that, it was technically making the first move, but it was still me who started the conversation. So that's our little like banter back and forth. But even if she had messaged me first, I would respect it. Like, I think it takes a lot of courage for a woman to step out of what's considered her comfort zone to then make the first move. To me, that shows that she's confident. To me, that shows that she's just putting herself out there. Would I necessarily opt for that all the time? No. But I think it would be commendable if she had, just to be able to say, hey, I feel like I would respect that. And it also like gives me the green light that this person is definitely interested. Sometimes the way that women can approach men can come off as desperate or aggressive, and that's definitely not necessarily attractive. But if you can just approach like a regular human being and be open to me continuing the conversation and taking things over from there, I think that's perfect, because all you have to do is make yourself known. And I think that's the only approach that women need to do. Once a woman makes herself known, that's all you have to do in terms of making the first move.
Love that. Yep, I'm with you 100% on that. 100% on that. Corey, you had a question. Sorry, my bad. I interrupted you.
No, I don't think I had a question. I was just talking about the name.
Oh, Nefessa, yeah. I'll be killing people's names out here, bro. I'm like, Nessa. No wonder I shouldn't turn around. But oh my, camera went. Go for it, Cap.
So, individual, question that I have for you is that, okay, you guys met on Hinge. That's cool. That's dope. Okay, you say right now you feel that that she is the one for you, right? So, at what point did you feel that way? How long have you guys been together? Right now, if you don't mind me asking, how long have you guys been together?
We've been together for just about a year since I asked her out, but it's
okay,
like a year and a half.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly at which point I felt like, okay, yeah, now is like it was this or a specific moment. It was kind of like actually a growing. It wasn't necessarily something that hit me all at once, but it was sort of like I saw potential and I saw like the fact that it could grow even more. Like the more time we had spent with one another, the more that I was like, oh nah, this could actually like be popping. Like that's when I began to realize over time it wasn't necessarily something that happened in a day or by a specific action.
Okay. Cool. That was it.
We appreciate you, individual. We appreciate you, individual. Appreciate it. Well, okay, Corey and Sean. First move. Can a lady make a first move? Are you okay with a lady making a first move? I guess you can define what first move is by your own definition, but
yeah, showing interest, showing doing the first move, all that's okay with me. I would prefer if she will come a certain percentage of the way, maybe 30, 40, something like that, 25, anywhere in that area, but don't come to 400%. Just let me, I'll take it from there. I know I've said that before. It's very important for me to know that yes, you have what it takes to approach me, but it's also important for me to know that I will court you, I will come for you, and I'll do what I need to do to get you, in my good graces. So I think that's important. So yes, I do think it's okay for a woman to approach a man, but for me, I just want a certain percentage to come, give me a little bit, and I'll take it from there.
I love that. I'm with you on that. Sean.
Yeah, I think Corey summed it up perfectly. I like the example of David too, whereas he's on a dating app and the woman winked or liked or did that to show that she was interested. I have no qualms about that. No qualms about it's the age of social media. So if a woman slid into my DMs, obviously. Nothing crazy and reckless, but, just expressed some interest or started a conversation or made some reference to something. I have no qualms about that. That's great. I don't know many men that do not appreciate a layup, right? That little assist where we know that, we have a sure shot with you. So I think that's great, but don't go too hard. Some women nowadays, they go some,
What's too
go
hard? What is too hard?
too hard is the follow up. The follow up to what we already know was the flirt. You know what I mean? So we saw the flirt, we saw the interest, but now you got to follow up. So what's going on? When are we going to go out? That follow up, I don't need your assistance there. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm interested, trust me, I will definitely let you know. The conversation will flow. If I'm not, I'm probably trying to figure out how not to hurt your feelings, right? So I don't need the follow up once you've made the initial, the initial first play there, first move.
I'm with you on that. Corey, what are you
You
gonna
know,
say?
something is very interesting about that because I see John's that follow up, but it is something about that tells me that she's really into me. She's like, hey, okay, so when are we gonna do this? When are we gonna spend time together again? Like, she's excited about it. I kind of like that,
Okay.
and it's welcome, if they're mutual. But what Sean is saying is, hey, if it's not mutual, then why are you doing this? Why you giving me too much right now? But I think it's something to be said for that too. A woman that can actually voice and say, hey, I enjoy spending time with you. I'm looking forward to spending time with you again. When will that next time be? It's something about that. So I'm kind of on the cusp of going back and forth with that because I understand what Sean is saying, but there's just something about that. What you think?
Yeah, I would say there's nothing wrong with that. That is once we've already passed go. You know what I mean? So my thing is, if we haven't started a conversation or started the dating process where a woman has just like slid into my DMs and said, "Hey, listen, saw you XYZ, or we met, I find you attractive, or I saw your profile, you look good," and I don't say anything, or I don't respond, or maybe we have a conversation, but it's very basic and there's nothing else after that, and I don't look to move to the next stage, then at that point, I don't want you to follow up with me. Meaning, like, don't ask me what happened. Oh, we never got a chance to meet up. I would love to see you. Trust me, if I have a genuine interest in you, you've expressed interest in me, we haven't passed just the conversation zone, then that's not the follow-up I need. Now, if we've already gone out and you've enjoyed yourself and we've seen each other, by all means, I welcome that. Like, life is busy, things happen. I'm not saying don't ever, let me know how you feel about me. It's just, if we haven't gone anywhere.
Yeah.
Got you.
I like that. Yeah, I personally, I mean, I don't mind a girl, enters the DMs, whatever. But I always say this: listen, you gotta come in there with a lie. Do not come in there with the truth, okay? Do not come in there with the truth, because that's gonna kill it. All right, we need to dance, and right, you trying to ruin the dance, okay? I need you to offer the hand, but I don't need you to lead the whole dance. You know what I'm saying? So when you get into the DMs, you can, and I think maybe men are probably more adept to this because we're used to doing this. You commenting straight on that you like me is probably a bit strong. You might want to come and say you like what I do. That's a softener. You know what I mean? Like that. We already know. If you're entering my DMs, I'm probably already assuming maybe this person really likes me. Don't lay it on thick. You know what I'm saying? Just come in there, be like, oh, you know what? I saw your last video. It was really good. Da, 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 da. Then I can initiate the conversation further on from there because, I know how to have a conversation, so it's not a problem. But when sometimes you get the, you know what, you are so sexy or you're so handsome, like, I appreciate that. I really do. I really do. But you're coming on a little bit strong, okay? Just a tad. Okay, just a tad, yeah. Just simmer it down a little bit, okay. Tell me my work is good, or tell me something else is good. You know what I mean? I love the fact that you're desiring me, but it just feels a little bit. I won't even say desperate. I feel like I'm being led, and I don't like that. I don't like being led. You know what I'm saying? So let me have the opportunity to make up my mind and move, because I feel like I'm not getting a choice right now the way you're coming at me. So for me, it doesn't work for me when you come so direct. Comment my work or whatever, or what I do, you know what I'm saying? And you know what, it's really interesting, I've noticed on social media, right? This is what happens when you're starting to, because basically what happened, I went viral for dancing, right? And then what happened was, people are adding me. So what women are doing is, they like 3 or 4 photos, looking for the follow back. I'm like, you think I don't know this game? you don't follow, and a lot of them won't even follow. So just do 3 or 4 likes and won't follow. They want you to follow. They want you to follow them. I said, I laughed, but I thought that's their way of trying to get me to move. Do you know what I mean? And I respect that. Do you know what I'm saying? I respect that because that's their way of not being too direct, but being indirect with it. Yeah. So, do your thing. Do you know what I'm saying? I respect it. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to come in the DM strong and be like, it's you that I'm liking and da 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 da. Do you know what I'm saying? I appreciate that, but let's have at least a few conversations before you drop that bar, man.
Yeah, it sounds like I see exactly where you're coming from, because if that happens to me, it'll sound like I'm one of them. That's a bold statement to say to, hey man, I think you're handsome. I think you're hot, you're sexy, you're fine, whatever. That's a bold statement. Like you said, it's very forward. And for a woman to be that forward with me and she doesn't know me, it comes off as like just everybody. I'm one of many. Like every guy who you find attractive, you hit them with this same line instead of kind of finessing it a little bit. But yeah, I definitely get that.
I hear that still. Okay, so women enter the DM. So women can enter the inboxes. Obviously not individuals he's taken, but you can obviously enter the inboxes of these gentlemen here, have a conversation, you know what I'm saying? Get to know them a little bit, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Hold back on those I like yous. You know what I'm saying? Individual, what you saying?
You said not him.
Yeah, he said not me.
Hold on that. Nah, what I see most often is that women don't want to, at least the women that I speak to, they don't want to have to put that effort. They don't want to have to like go that mile because they're just like, okay, well, why should I have to when I see that women of previous generations haven't had to do that, or the women they speak to don't have to do those things, right? They feel like, why should I have to go the extra mile if there are guys out here who are actually pursuing and stuff like that? How come they can't come to me? What would you say to that?
That's a question to the rest of the board.
I'm sorry. Sean, you want to take it? Oh, I mean, because I missed it. I'm sorry, I missed the question. So
basically, I've spoken to a lot of women who do want to be courted, who do want to be pursued, but they don't want to put they don't want to make the first move, right? Like they don't want to have to put in the effort to go out and into somebody else's DMs and stuff like that. And I've also been hearing that a lot of them don't want to be on the dating apps because they feel like there's a lot of guys out there that just like trash and stuff like that. So they feel like they're stuck between a rock and a hard place of wanting to meet somebody, possibly seeing somebody who's a great catch, but they don't want to make the first move. And they also have like a hard time putting themselves out there in general. What advice would you give to those women who feel like they're stuck?
Well, I think for me, I would tell them that they can't expect something doing that. So if they're in the house, if they're to themselves all the time and, they don't want to do anything to interact with opposite sex as far as like going out, you'd be invisible in lounges, bars or whatever. They don't want to put that type of work in. It's hard to expect something to grow from nothing. I got to be seen, to put yourself in a situation where someone can see you, someone can approach you. I get it because there are a lot of women who don't like online dating. They don't like that, the app. They don't like Hinge, Tinder, all of that. So they want the old school way, the old fashioned way, but they're also homebodies. So you can't do that. You don't want to date one that you work with. So that's out of the question. That's the only place that you go besides home. So it makes it hard. So they're making it harder on themselves by doing that. So I have to just say, man, except for that chance or a gas station, that their chances are really slim unless they decide to do something to make themselves more available to men.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, man. And I think that to add to what Corey was saying, I would say in addition to putting themselves in spaces where men are, also let people know that they trust that they are looking, right? I think, whether it's, if you go to church, let your pastor know, let, close friends and family know. I think a lot of good relationships, quality relationships come from that circle and people who have your best interest at heart. So I think that's a good space to start to go to let folks know, hey, listen, I'm out here, I'm interested, and if you have any options that you think would be a good fit, let me know. And then they got to ask themselves the question. A lot of times we say what we don't want to do. Well, how is it working? How is what you're doing working for you? I mean, and just ask the question. I would ask the question, because we cannot want to do certain things, but the things that we've been doing, is it working? And if you want to have different outcomes, you very often need to change your behaviors and what you're doing to get the outcomes you want. And that's in every aspect of your life. So it doesn't stop it just work. It goes for dating too.
I'm with that. I'm with that, bros. I mean, I think what you just said there. High visibility. Is you're trying to increase your visibility. Because you can't make that first move too much because it is very forward if you're talking in a certain way towards men and everything like that. So I get it. You're trying to make sure they're high visibility. This life is not free. Okay, and depending on what year you are born into, the seasons are different. Okay, all right. 1950s has come and it's gone. All right, so we are now in 2021. Okay, the game plan's got to shift and change. Okay, all right, y'all watch NFL and I watch soccer here. Tactics are not always the same from what it was years ago to what it is now. You got to adapt. Okay, so ladies, if you're out there, okay, listen, enter some DMs. Listen, and I already said it. It's a low risk strategy entering in the DMs by saying, I really like what you do. It's high risk saying, I want you. So let's start low risk strategy, which doesn't get, you know what? You lose nothing. If you enter Corey Black's DMs where, look, I saw you on the panel and I loved your thoughts on this particular subject. I appreciate what you said on that. You lose nothing saying that. And if he responds and says, you know what? Yeah, no, it was a deep conversation, and he goes on to talk, you've gained. Or if he doesn't respond at all, or he just says thank you very much, you've lost nothing because you didn't put yourself necessary to be rejected. He just hasn't said anything. So it's actually a really low risk strategy. If you need to get on board, okay, because man, them are on board. You need to get on board. You're actually missing out. It's actually lazy. So it's like, actually, you don't realize it's becoming lazy, not because it's so low risk. We're not asking you to get out your seat now, go on the street and start grabbing men and saying, do you want to go out with me? Nah, low risk strategy. Enter some DMs, have some conversations, like you were saying, Sean, and saying Corey's got to go, so that's why. And say, hey, look, there may be, I'm looking for someone, whatever. So for me, you can still have the letting a man come to you, but you just got to be able to do it slightly differently now. There is that eye fluttering used to do no longer works. We're not in that space anymore. The eye flutter is now enter the DMs. Okay, so you just need to adapt your female charms that you guys have been using and put it in a different way. Hey, Instagram is beautiful. Please, ladies out there, stop making yourself private. It's trash. I don't know what's going on. If you add me on private, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do with that? Right? Like, you know what I'm saying? If you're on dating apps, let's make sure the photos are crisp. Your good 6 or good 5 photos should be looking sexy. I should see you in different light. Maybe wearing a nice dress or say yes, long profile, please. Let's stop doing the half pro, because as soon as I see half profile, I already know that there's something going on down there. You're making it worse for yourself. And also, even if it's not bad down there, it means maybe you're not confident in your body as well, which shows me there's a lower lack of confidence, right? Look, this is do you know what I do when I'm on Insta? People add me, right? I go through their photos and look what kind of photos they are, right? Here's the thing. Now, ladies, don't kill me. When you haven't got back, they don't do the turn pose shot. They don't do it. When they haven't got the back, they don't do the whole. Those photos don't come out. Right, because they ain't got. You know what I'm saying? No, it's real spit. It doesn't come out, right? So if I can tell that, yeah, if we don't see a long body, you already know something's probably going down. So we start making deductions simply because of what you haven't provided us. Do you see what I'm saying? So you have to provide the vital information that will make that man, it makes it easier for you to be found. Do you know what I'm saying? We don't have to be adding to the story. Keep a bit of mystique and a bit of mystery. But please, look, one long photo, nice, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you going out looking in your best dress or whatever, frock or whatever. Fantastic. 2 or 3 photos like that are really good and showing you in your best light. Brilliant. You know what I mean? Stop adding people on private. It's not cute, okay? Because nobody knows what you look like, and we need to see what that is, okay? And enter some DMs, you know? High visibility, you know what I'm saying? Yeah? And curate your page if you can, you know? Put some nice photos on there. We don't want to see quotes, okay? Don't want to see quotes, okay, that Jesus lived. Listen, if Jesus is your loved one, we appreciate that. I'm a Christian too, but all the quotes that are in there, I mean, quotes can be in there, but please, let's have some balance of terms of quotes and pictures. Some people have just got quotes, and then they got a pastor in there. Like, bruv, come on. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you want to make sure you do the best possible job for yourself. So, yeah, high visibility. What you saying, individual?
No complaints, man. Everything on point, man. Like there's nothing else to really add. I think, man, that's it. I ain't got nothing else, bruh. You said it all.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's round up this section. This was meant to be a quick bonus thing. It turned into a full-on conversation. So, you know what I mean? I loved it. It was vibes. This is what we need, more men's conversation like this. So we'll have episode 2. Don't worry, guys, for you guys. This was a bonus episode. So if you've enjoyed this conversation, please like, share, subscribe. Actually, I haven't even let you guys tell them where they can find you. So individual and Sean. So individual, go first. Where can they find you?
It's individual on everything. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. You can find me everywhere. You're most likely going to see my art. You're not going to see a lot of my face.
He's taken. You don't need to.
Just know that it's me when you see the art. But yeah, man, this was good. Appreciate
Love
it.
that. Sean?
Sure. So Sean Davis 120 on IG. That's primarily where you will find me. You'll also find me on Little Black Book, doing TV reviews on panels with Kojo. I also have a channel which I just launched with one of my co-hosts, Jay, Another Round, where we do TV reviews and do content and discussions as well. And in the link of my IG page is the direct link to my own channel, Sean Unfiltered. So that's where you can find me.
I love that, man. I love that. I love you got your channel up as well, man. So appreciate that, Sean. Make sure you guys follow them too as well on their respective platforms. Support them. You know, show some love. Please don't enter individuals' DMs, please. I don't need that kind of heat from his future wife. So, if you've enjoyed the conversation, leave a comment down below. Leave a question for us. If you've got a question that you think the men should be asking, or you want to ask men this particular question, or you want it to be in the next series, leave a comment down below. All right. But again, like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate you. Stay locked and stay loaded. We'll see you again another